Okay, testing, testing, one, two, three. Let's see if this is up and running. Does go? Does the stream go?
I am not seeing that you're streaming.
Ah, but I
Why
am.
am I not
Hurrah.
seeing?
Looks like it just came through there. Kill. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So,
Weird. I'm just wondering why I'm not seeing.
the welcome to Greater Keres on the Chitter Chat.
Uh, no.
Hmm.
See, I'm looking in the spice tea and I don't see anything posted
Oh,
there.
may not have gotten posted, but I think I just hopped onto Twitch and it looks like it's at least up and running.
That is, wonder why the hell I don't see it. I'm signed in. I see my wife's stream.
Are we stealth? Did I gork a setting somewhere? Unacceptable.
Oh, there it is. Okay, just took a minute.
Okay, good, good, good. Just making sure. All right, so we'll go ahead and snap our camera over to find
We're
friend
in
Gryson here.
there. What's the name of this inn again?
This is the Safe Passage Inn, is where you're currently keeping yourself away. And so yeah, I suppose let's pick it up. So where we left off last week, it seemed that the group had managed to make their way back to the Northern Crossroads, start making some new connections, particularly with the infamous Euphrates Sharp, a local dead drop dealer who seemed to be very interested in the body that you all had brought back from the library. And sort of an exchange here, it seems like you all may be getting into the cheese smuggling business as kind of a thank you trade off. So
Yeah.
with that, we're basically going to be rather than doing like the longer sesh here. This is everyone makes their way back to the safe passage, but in this next day up until the Great Cheese Caper, everyone's got a little bit of time here. So Gryson, as the sun rises upon another beautiful day in the Northern Crossroads, the light hits the building, filling it with the warm dawny glow, and the day is yours to do with as you please.
Oh, goody. Let's see.
So you find yourself at the safe passage. It's a all things considered, it's a pretty nice inn. It's maybe not the fanciest place that one could possibly imagine, but it's certainly a larger building by North Crossroads standards. A couple of stories to it, comfortable beds, everything cleaned on the regular. More than its fair share of sort of odder patrons as well. This seems to be a pretty common place for uh, the transient market population that would be coming through the Northern Crossroads. As you're looking around, you notice some people with a distinctly celestial appearance. You notice a couple that could, charitably be described as fiends. But everyone's kind of keeping to themselves, kind of like looking over their breakfasts silently around their tables.
Hmm. Well, let's have breakfast.
Oh, absolutely. And with that, you go ahead and grab yourself a table, and the orcish owner of the hotel, who you've seen a couple of times now, comes over, pen and pad in his hands, and he introduces himself. Not the tallest gentleman you've ever seen, sort of like slicked back, like black hair, a couple of like short little tusks that sort of protrude off the side of his face. And as he comes over, looking expectantly with you, what What can I be having?
Some meat, some eggs, and some beer.
Meat, eggs, and beer. It's a proper meal for a proper start to your day. It's a pleasure to meet you. The name is Thaddeus. Thaddeus Dennison. I'm the proprietor of this establishment, and I'll be the one coordinating your eating for this morning here. Oi, chum, get working on some eggs! And you see
Thaddeus.
Thaddeus, yes, Thaddeus Denizen. And Thaddeus looks over his shoulder and calls out to another orcish gentleman. This one a little bit shorter than him. He's got sort of one of those awkward bowl cuts that you see at like Renaissance fairs. He's a little bit thinner, a little bit lither, but when he hears the name Chum called out, "Oh, right, Thaddeus, have it for you ready in a jiffy." And this smaller orcish gentleman darts towards the back of the inn and starts whooping up a series of delicious meats and eggs, and the smell starts to fill the room. Thaddeus looks over you and is like, "All right, meat, eggs, and beer. What else can we get you today?"
That'll do for food. Um, Sorry, gathering my thoughts. Still waking up.
No, it's all right. We've seen you a couple of days here now at the Safe Passage. It's the first you've actually had you for breakfast, though.
I been busy. Lots
I
to do.
Busy you have. You've been traveling with those adventurers I've seen, right?
Yeah. Um, Adventurers. That's probably a strong term at this point, but we've been doing some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, word gets around fairly quickly. A group of bladed gentlemen enters your establishment looking for passage, and word gets a bit around just a little bit, just a little bit. Well, is there anything that we could do here to assist you with any of your time here at the Safe Passage or in the North Crossroads in general?
Um, I've been feeling a little off. I'm wondering if there's somebody you could recommend I go talk to, healer type that can look into what might be wrong.
Oh, absolutely. A couple options for you there. Have you been to any of the temples yet in town?
No.
Um, have you seen any of the strange, what would you call them? The hooded gentlemen that are around?
No. What do they do?
And actually, with that, Gryson, make me a perception check real quick.
Perception check. Perception check.
Oh, very nice. Excellent roll to start. And
Hold on. I gotta. Okay. Yep. That's fine.
mhm. And incidentally, a 20 was exactly what you needed. Because as you're standing
Oh,
there,
those guys.
yes, so you have seen him before then. The rising tide.
Briefly. They come and go really quickly.
Oh, it's the funniest thing. They don't really come and go so much as they just sort of stay out of the corner of your eye. Yeah, let me. Have you actually introduced yourself to one yet?
No, no, not at all. They seem creepy.
Well, that they are, but you get used to him after a while. Oi, Harmony, come on over! And Thaddeus goes ahead and extends a big, meaty, orcish paw over at this robed gentleman. You think, at least, that it's a robed gentleman, because as the figure comes over, it's really pretty obvious that whoever this um, is going to fairly great lengths to keep their appearance concealed. Their hood is up. There's a series of blindfolds that sort of cover the top of their head, and where their mouth should be, there's this long mask with a smile painted on. But as the figure comes over, you don't really get. Actually, make me an insight check. With an 11, you're not really getting like a threatening atmosphere off of this person. You've been in a fair few scraps at this point, but this creature, person, entity doesn't seem to be all of that dangerous. At least you're not really getting the sense that they're in like a threatening posture for you. As Thaddeus gestures over this individual, goes, "This is Harmony, Adam. Harmony. This is I'm sorry, I don't believe I caught your name.
Gryson.
Gryson. Gryson. This is Harmony, Adam. Harmony, Adam. Gryson." And the figure goes ahead and extends a long gloved hand, thick gloves at the end of it. Looks more like a worksman gloves rather than something like thin and delicate. And Harmony sends it in. Hi there, Gryson. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Uh, Nice to meet you too.
So, Thaddeus here. I've seen you a little bit around town, but I take it here this is your first time getting introduced to everyone. Well, what do you think of the town so far?
It's a nice town.
we
I like the
certainly we certainly think so. Try to make a point of it. Do you know do you know anything about what we do as the Rising Tide? Thaddeus looks around and goes, "I'm gonna go get you your food," and starts squirreling his way back off to the back. But as this robed individual sits down at the table, asks, "So, what do you actually know about what we of the Rising Tide do?"
I don't know much. I've seen you out of the corner of my eye a couple times, but you seem to come and go really quick through people.
Well, it's all part of the nature of our work. Humility is important to the fellowship because we realize that in order for people to appreciate the land that they have, it doesn't really behoove them to think about all of the grit and dirt that gets underfoot as you're trying to make things better. Uh, we're one of the main faiths of Keres. We're one of the organizations that's devoted to the god of Keres, the sound of a thousand crashing waves, and the way that we express that is through acts of humility. We clean, we bathe, we provide wonderful services if you need to take a shower or cleanse yourself, and we also do provide healing services as well. I couldn't help but overhear you talking with Thaddeus that you may have been in need of a healer.
Oh, maybe. I'm not sure exactly what's wrong. It just seems like when we go into fights, I'm off. I don't know. Sometimes I usually want to just go in and fight, but sometimes I want to just I hesitate. Sometimes I go a little bit too fast. I'm just off. It's never seems quite right.
Very interesting. You actually give me an insight check real quick.
Is that the right way to explain initiative?
Oh yeah, it's a terrific way of describing it. Um, you notice that with even as few cues as there are to read on somebody wearing this much clothing, you notice the head tilt and the interest sort of shift as you mention the missing moments. Well, that does sound fascinating.
Oh yeah, the missing moments. I should probably go read that again.
Well, it's quite all right. It's the idea that you're having this shift, especially just as you're getting into the fight. You wouldn't be the first person that's described that kind of thing. I'm a little bit more, shall we say, I'm just a humble cleaner. But if you'd like to go down to the temple, to the Rising Tide Fellowship, it's just to the south of this building here, just south on the main path. There may be a couple of people there who are able to give you a little bit more insight than I can. That's
All
really
right.
interesting though. If you're having moments disappearing, you should get that looked into. Like I said, you're not the first person I've heard of who's had something like that happen.
Which temple do you recommend? Do you? It sounded as though there's many temples or multiple temples. What do they? Are they for different things?
Well, I guess it really comes down to how you see that god in our harbor. And actually, Gryson, give me a moment here for a religion check. Just let's see how much you know about the sound of a thousand crashing waves, just to begin with here.
How much?
With an 8, you know, at least a little. You know that one of the things that makes Carries what it is the sound of a thousand crashing waves, which is this enormous water god that seems to emerge out of the harbor and Carries. once a year as part of the festival. It's basically it's a little bit like Disneyland being known for like Mickey Mouse or the Magic Kingdom. Like everyone worldwide knows Keres because it's pretty much the only place you can go to actually see a god come to life.
on, on schedule.
Exactly, a god on schedule, and then for that god to have like a physical body too. So it's one of the reasons why this is such like a hot destination for tourists is because okay, it's got really good food, it's got like really perfect weather, but also like you come during festival season and you get to see the god. So, with that in mind, the gentleman from the Rising Tide here goes ahead and sort of tilts the head again and goes, "Well, so you've surely heard of our god, the sound of a thousand crashing waves. The matter really comes down to do you see him as a capital G god, a lowercase g god, or do you not see him as a god at all?" Well, for us, we'd see it as an uppercase G god. The sound of a crashing waves, this incredible thing, is just a sliver of great things beyond. It's a divine entity. If you see things a different way, like some people, the crashing waves think that it's much more of a lowercase G god or the Coven of the Coast. I couldn't really explain to you what they think. But everyone has their own take about the god, so either way,
Do
it's
they
the source of our power.
have different abilities based on what they believe the god is?
Indeed, we do all each have our own domains. We of the Rising Tide believe the most in life and death, the line between there, and holding that line. The Church of the Crashing Waves, they're wind and thunder. They're they're bombastic. I think would be an affectionate way of describing them. The Coven of the Coast, they're more of matters of earth and water. They connect with the natural forces the most, and they draw power from that. Ourselves, our powers are really more along those lines of keeping that line between life and death. If you come to our temple, we're more than happy to provide you any healing services or, anything up to a resurrection in the right circumstances.
So what do the other two, what do they see the god as a lowercase g, as you said, or just a being, or do all three of these temples see him as a uppercase god?
Oh, it's we see of the rising tide see crashing waves as an uppercase G god. In fact, we really don't even refer to our god as the sound of a crashing sound of a thousand crashing waves. That's much more of the Church of the Crashing Waves. They're the ones who see as a lowercase G god. What's unusual about them is that they believe that the god with a physical body needs would you describe it as protection, harmony, a communal sense of understanding? Uh, with this, Thaddeus comes back and he's got a big plate of really deliciously cooked meats, some moderately prepared eggs, and a thick tankard of beer. Goes ahead and puts it down on the table in front of you, gives you a little bit of a wink, and he scurries off to serve some of the other individuals. Um,
Uh, you're fine if you want to keep talking for a second. I'm just gonna run to the fridge.
oh no, by all means. Um, The Church of the Crashing Waves, on the other hand, they see the god as a lowercase g god. They see our god as a being that requires their engagement and protection. So their worship is more about the physical manifestation. For us, our God is only really there a few weeks out of the year, and we understand that our God is beyond just that of mortal sight, more than we can perceive. It is a being beyond the outer planes, and for that we are reverent. I'm sorry, we're really getting into the weeds here. Um, but the coven
That's a lot of information. Eating and drinking
the
beers.
long and short, we Rising Tide believe in an uppercase G god. The Crashing Waves believe in a lowercase G god, and the Coven of the Coast they don't really believe in a god at all. They believe that it's just a reflection of the forces of this environment. So it's all different. It's all unusual depending on your view, but Of course, I would be remiss in not saying that I had not had experiences that cemented me in the foundations of my faith. So, if you'd like to
Mm,
come to our temple, if you'd like to go ahead and participate in a service, or at the very least, if we can make any recommendations for those spots behind your eyes, just let me know. Just ask for Harmony Adam. We're all named Harmony Adam.
interesting. That's gonna be confusing.
It's all right.
Which where do I find your temple? And I will have to say I'm not an overly religious person, so the sitting through service seems daunting to me, and be more interested in just maybe a private conversation with somebody that could maybe help me.
Absolutely. I will say it's not what I would call a conventional religious service. It's well, when was the last time you had a bath?
Mm, it's been a while. I
You,
should probably use one.
then you head straight to the south. Look for the really big temple just along the path in front of the safe passage, directly to the south. If you head anywhere to an intersection to the east or the west, you're going the wrong way. Look for the purple. Not Garloth's purple, the other purple.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yes. Okay.
Well,
Garlock. He's an interesting feller.
Oh, it is always an exciting thing when you have aberrations living alongside the normal folks of a land. We all make do, though, don't we? Well,
We all
Gryson,
make do. That's all we can do.
indeed. Gryson, I think it'll be a pleasure getting a chance to re-meet you. I'm going to go about my duties, and with this, Harmony Adam pushes back from the table and stands up. I'm have a little bit more cleaning to do around here, but I look forward to the opportunity to see you again at the temple. Please just reach out if there's anything I can do to help.
Thank you for your help.
And with that, you see Harmony. It's interesting. Give me another perception check as you're watching Harmony walk away from the table. You know,
Whew.
it's so interesting. With that seven, you're trying to keep your eyes on this guy, but as he's walking away, everything else, it's like your eyes are just sliding off of him. Little details around the room, like the texture of the wood floor, or like the number of teeth on the fiend, like sitting there munching on a sausage. All of these things are inherently easier for you to keep an eye on than it is for you to look at this person who you've just been carrying on a conversation with. Um, Even still, as he walks away, you find yourself with a plate of eggs, beer, and meat in front of you, about half finished at this point. What would you like to do next?
Finish eating, of course. Can't leave food go to waste.
Indeed, and why would you want to do something of the sort?
Or beer. Finish it. So finish that and then.
Oh, fantastic. And so with that, you go ahead and you finish. You see Chum scurries on over, hair sort of bobbing in the breeze. It's like,
Oh, hello, sir. Can I go ahead and get that out of the way for you now that you're finished?
Yes. What do I owe you?
Oh, it'll be just 25 silver for the lot of it. We try to do a cheap meal here at the Safe Passage. Cheap but filling, proper for filling your guts.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome.
goes ahead and takes the 25, stands there momentarily, realizes you're
Oh,
probably not given a
I'm,
tip, and goes ahead and
I'm gonna give him another 25.
Another 25.
and you see his cheeks all of a sudden, even under like the greenish skin, there's like a little bit of a flush, kind of gives it like this acid green kind of like blush to it.
It's like, oh, sir, it's good to know you think so highly of our meal. I'll be sure to pass along my
Well,
appreciation to Thaddeus.
And
also for the advice. Thank you.
Oh, you're ever so welcome. You do quite well for yourself this day. Good day, good day.
you see the squirrely looking orc run off with your stein and plate.
Okay.
Excellent. So you've got a couple of references now. You definitely have the Rising Tide directly to yourself. Their temple is an option that's available for you. You also got the notion of the Coven of the Coast, which is more of like weird nature stuff, earth and water. And you also got the Crashing Waves, which is more of the thunder and lightning.
Mm. Um, well, I'm gonna probably go to the Rising Tide first and see about the spots, empty spots, or blank
Yeah,
memory stuff.
absolutely.
Let's go
Uh,
talk to those guys.
cool. So as you are making your way further south,
Oh,
actually, as you are,
sorry.
oh, it's quite all right. You had the ability to move yourself, and so you did. But as you are actually crossing the east side of the Undersquare, as you're going along the path, you run into an individual who certainly hasn't seemed to, you have not interacted with, but seems a little interested in what it is that you're doing. It's a half elf. You're guessing, a female half elf, short hair, very like light skin, light hair color. She's carrying a spear and wearing this sort of like looser set of flowing blue robes. And as you are starting to approach this intersection for the Undersquare, she stops, pauses, and does not move out of the way of your path.
Hi,
Oi there.
can I help you with something?
Maybe. Certainly seems like you could. You an iron?
Oh, uh, yeah.
Really, really? A mountain breaker yourself coming all the way out here. What brings you to the North Crossroads?
Mm, more comfortable lodging, better food, good beer.
And certainly nothing that you could use for yourself to split another mountain in half, is that the case?
Mm, yeah. Um, it is quite lacking in the adventures, but it's interesting.
Is it now? You been with us through festival season yet?
No, I haven't seen a festival yet.
Uh, give me another insight check. This half elf is, despite the fact that the two of you are not all of that different in height, um, with a one, it very much seems like this half elf is trying to like get up in your face over something here.
Mm. What,
Well, then, it's a pleasure to go ahead and meet somebody from such a long distance away. You'll have to excuse me if I'm being a little ill-mannered here. I'm just not really used to seeing a person like yourself here. And I was wondering if you would be willing to do me a favor.
that depends. What's in it for me?
How about the best fight you've had since you've gotten to the North Crossroads?
Mm,
Now,
sounds interesting.
now, I'll give you a little something. My family used to live in Ayaton before they moved to Keres. And when I was growing up, I would hear all these stories about barbarians rampaging through the skies on their boulders and the horrors that would come when the rocks would fall on the town. And I'm just a little curious, getting a chance to meet an Ayan in the flesh. And you see, she kind of unlatches the spear from behind her back, and she sort of like testingly picks it up and like testing the balance of it. I'm just curious to see if you're all as good of fighters as my grandparents made you out to be. Care to indulge me?
Hmm. Is there an arena or something around town? I prefer not to just fight in the street.
I'm sure I could make a call. Tell you what, if you're willing to make something more formal of it, Mm, Do you have a venue
I'm
in
down
mind?
for a spar.
Down for a
Um,
spar? Oh, fantastic.
Not too familiar with town that well, so I'm not exactly sure where the right place to go would be.
Well, let's do this then. Meet me at the Undersquare this evening at sunset. We'll go ahead and give them a show in town. Give
Hmm,
you a taste of what the crashing waves can do to a barbarian like yourself.
mhm. We'll see about that.
What's your name?
Gryson.
Gryson.
And yours?
Sasona. It's a pleasure to meet you. I look forward to meeting you again, this time, you on your back. She smiles, spits on the ground, and walks past you. See you at sunset.
Friendly people.
Indeed, that was sort of the opposite of what you would call a friendly interaction. All right, so still making your way on south to the Rising Tide Temple?
Yes, yes.
Fantastic. Phew, I will teleport you on down. Phew. Phew. Excellent. And so, as you come to the outside of the Rising Tide Temple, give me a quick perception check. This is getting a sense of how much you've been paying attention to the architecture of the place around you.
Is it stonework?
Indeed, it is stonework.
Can I do a history check?
Oh yes, give me that history with advantage.
Oh, with advantage.
Hmm. Still a pretty good
No,
roll.
just
Give
roll
it
again.
give it extra spicy. Oh, there you go. Well, boy, oh boy, are you with a nat 20 on your stoneworking history. As your hands run their way over the stone of this building, you're immediately fascinated. Because despite what a large building this is, and despite the not necessarily the amount of detail, but the amount of craftsmanship that's gone to both the outside and the inside of this building, you're shocked as you realize and as you're touching the stone, there is no wear on this stone. In fact, as you're examining it, this is such a fresh material and this sort of like pale, almost colorful granite. You're seeing little reflections of greens and blues and pinks inside of the substrate of the rock. Um, all of this rock is barely 5 years old, if that. In fact, it may even be newer. There's no signs of erosion, and in fact, there's very little signs of any sort of obvious tool working. Whoever or whatever built this building did so very recently, and they did so without any traditional tools for stoneworking that you've seen before.
Hmm, interesting. Seems new, but I don't know how they made it.
Indeed, and as you walk into the temple, you see a couple of other things. For starters, the atrium that you find yourself in is large and expansive. The ceiling goes up a good 25, 30 feet. Soft amethyst gems laid into the ceiling that are casting off this sort of pale purple light over everything. The sound of running water also hits your ears. There's this sort of like ebbing, bubbling sort of flow that you've come to associate with like smaller controlled waterfalls, showers. And as you go further into the building and as you get sort of a better sense of the environment itself, you can see a number of the rising tide in the center of the room here doing basic water into ice manipulation. It seems almost like they're coalescing little pools of water and making little ice flows with them and then transforming them back into water. Um, as you look to the southwest, you also see a very familiar face. What looks like Steve the Bard. Um, Fortunately for you, though, Steve the Bard is currently comatose. He seems that he's sort of been tucked up against a wall in the corner, where at the moment he's sleeping with sort of like a contented, like snoozy kind of snoring sound to himself. Whatever's going on, his hat is covering his eyes, and Steve doesn't seem all too interested in what's going on in the world around him. Um, as you stand there, a number of the Rising Tide individuals in their white and purple robes tilt their heads towards you and raise their hands in acknowledgement.
I I was told I could see somebody about an issue I'm having with some blank spots and spots behind my eyes.
Most interesting. Please come in, come in. Follow me. I am Harmony Adam. It is a pleasure to meet you. What is your name?
Mm, Gryson.
Gryson, Gryson, it is a pleasure. Do you need any aid in walking? Can we provide you any levitation or services of such a nature?
I can walk
Please, but of course.
for my feet.
Let my familiar accompany you. And as you're walking along, you notice this broom, faintly glowing with arcane energy, sort of like Fantasia style Magician's Apprentice, sort of like hops up onto its bristles and proceeds to follow you out into the main room. As you arrive, this is clearly the centerpiece of the space. It's this large, gorgeous, expansive room with all of these pools. Give me another perception check.
Perception.
18. Very nice. You're doing pretty hot so far. With an 18, what's very interesting to you is that you're recognizing that as your eyes sort of make their way around the room, you're having that moment like you did with Adam earlier at the safe passage, where your eyes are just sort of gliding across the pools. You're able to look at them, you're able to appreciate like the rich blue color of the water, but whoever or whatever else might be in these pools, there's some sort of powerful enchantment that's preventing you from setting your eyes on whatever might actually be within there. On the one side, it's a little unsettling because you get that sense of something being just on the edge of your vision that you can't see. But on the flip side, you're also a little reassured because you know that anywhere that has that kind of enchantment means you yourself are going to be just as difficult to see. Um, as you're entering the room, a slightly
Can I ask
different.
a
Oh,
question?
by all means.
Harmony Adam, can I ask you a question? Quick.
Oh, by all means, what can we do?
How old is this building?
We only built this building following the last tempest. I would say that it's barely even 4 months old at this point.
That's a pretty quick construct.
Hmm.
Just can I ask how it's built? I don't see any tool work in the granite.
Indeed. Uh, have you been with us for many festivals at this point?
I have not.
Oh, a shame, a shame. I hope you get the opportunity to enjoy your first festival this year. It is a unique experience. What
I'm
makes
hearing that.
you will be and the person actually looks over at this slightly differently cloaked figure that's walked their way over towards you and kind of gives them a nod of acknowledgement. I think that you will certainly find festival culture to be to your liking. At the conclusion of each festival, we prepare ourselves for the Tempest, a grand coming of air elementals that lays waste to our cities. As a result, we rebuild every year for time immemorium. For tens of thousands of years, Keres is devastated, and in the wake, we, along with our arcane selves, work together to rebuild. This is the cycle of destruction. This is why we are able to enjoy living in a land of plenty. This other voice pipes up. And this individual is the first member of the Rising Tide that you've been able to make out that has any distinction to their appearance. They're going ahead and sort of like carrying a war hammer at one side. They have obvious signs of magic energy kind of passing up and down their arm. They're not going to great lengths to like conceal their magic. And this individual goes ahead and latches the hammer to their side, extends one hand out in greeting, goes, "Harmony Adam, Gryson, it's a pleasure to meet you."
Mm, pleasure to meet you as well. Extend my hand, I guess, reluctantly.
Notices that you go ahead, extend it reluctantly, and gives it a confident but brief shake, wanting to respect your personal space. As he goes ahead and cracks a smile, you think, with the warm gesture of hands. But as you look, this one also, rather than having their hood up, simply has the blindfold on and the all-encompassing mask. So there's a little bit more of a silhouette behind this one. You're kind of able to get a little bit more of a sense of like a figure rather than just like this living pile of robes.
So not just a robe, or not a robe, just mostly the blindfold, the mask to cover the face, and
Precisely.
otherwise just okay.
You notice actually with as well as you've been rolling for perception, you actually notice like a couple of like armor even underneath sort of like a lighter outer tabard. You kind of hear the clinking of like chainmail that kind of implies that if everybody else is really more of like a janitor type of personality, between the hammer and the clinking of the mail, this one looks like they're a little bit heftier, a little bit more like they might be. A fixer type, let's say. And so this one, the flared out harmony, goes ahead and well, your original guide sort of heads off to other parts within the temple. This harmony leans towards you and goes, "So, Gryson, what brings you to us today? It seems that you may have some conditions that we could assist you with."
Yes. I've explained a couple times. I seem to have some missing spots, and some like spots behind my eyes, but just missing time when I'm going into fights, and I'm just off. Stuff. It's not my usual um way about going about a fight.
Missing time, you say?
Mm.
Um, you see that Harmony looks contemplative for a second, and then in your ear, a message whispers itself. "Would you care to step into my office?" It's self-evident that there is no clear way that this would have been heard out loud. This is a thought that manifested inside of your head from Adam himself.
I find that a bit disconcerting, but I'll trust you. Come highly recommended.
Mm, and I do apologize. There are simply matters that perhaps would be best discussed in the privacy of my quarters. And so he goes ahead and invites you to the edge of one of the pools. Um,
This is
as
your office.
Why, yes, I am of the rising tide after all. And as he steps over the threshold, you see Harmony disappear.
Ch- Um, I'll follow, I guess.
Fantastic. As you do, when you're expecting to have your feet kind of splash down into the water, you find that the water beneath your feet is as sturdy as stone. Unless you were to will yourself into the water, it's resisting your footsteps. Instead, it has that sort of like pleasant, springy feeling under your feet, a little bit like you had just been on like fresh sodden grass, like after a rain. It's a very sort of pleasant experience. And now that you're actually inside, you see that this space is, in fact, extra dimensional. While there is a actually make me a history check.
Just a plain history check.
Yeah, flat old history check. Rolling like a boss. Um, you're getting deja vu a little bit to the Wandering Library and the sense of a space being bigger on the inside than it is on the out. Um, and as you are now walking on water here, Harmony goes ahead and mutters a couple of phrases quietly under his breath. You can't quite make out. And as you see hand gestures tracing in the air sort of ripples around you, giving that heat wave sort of atmosphere to it. Um, Harmony walks over towards you and says, "Have you had any other strange occurrences lately besides the spots and the missing moments?"
Mm, Nothing too out of the ordinary. I prefer really to not get into where this started, but we had an interaction with seemed to be a necromancer type warlock, maybe guy who was very old, and yes, that's when it started.
Hmm. Very old, you say, and local to Keres. This wasn't something that happened like in Privan or in one of the Dales, correct?
It was Carrie still, but it was just north of the mountains to the
Hmm.
east.
Hmm. And did you encounter anything unusual? Well,
Mhm.
that's a bit broad of a term. Did you encounter anything indescribable? An event that seemed to have a beginning and no end, an occurrence, something that seemed to have an effect or a risk, and then simply just ended unresolved. An event that didn't seem to take place in continuity.
Hmm. Well, the place we encountered this individual seemed very odd and out of time, kind of. I don't know. It was hard to tell if time passed while we were there or not.
Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, my
Did
apologies.
you catch what I said?
I did. It broke for
Okay.
a hot second. Um, so you were in a place outside of time.
I don't know if that's exactly correct, but it seems to be so. Yes.
There are ways of telling such a thing. However, do you realize the implications of what you are suggesting at this point, Gryson?
No, it's not my forte. I I uh, I'm a fighter. I'm a barbarian. I don't know too much about implications of such things. People point
Hmm.
me in a direction, and I go that way. It keeps
Well,
me fed.
this is going to be a very interesting few months, I would have to say, because you may be a barbarian, you may be a fighter, but I have a suspicion that you may have more. Not necessarily intentionally, may only be as a side effect, but there are ways of telling. Now, I can check for you, but there comes a risk by doing this, because I. Hmm, so much to explain, so much to explain if it's true. By doing this, you place yourself at risk. There are others who, if they become aware of what it is that this test will reveal, you will find yourself perpetually at odds and perpetually in danger. But
Hmm.
by knowing this
Sounds like my
information,
life.
Uh, I want you to imagine with myself and all of the respect I would show an ion of your potential. What would be life threatening to a man that splits mountains?
Hmm. That's a good question. I haven't encountered it yet.
May I perform a test?
Is this the dangerous one?
No, this is simply what opens the door to danger. But the payoff is truth. You know a truth, but that truth will place you into danger. It's not to say that you would be in danger, but eventually the truth has its way of finding out. And then would you be in danger just simply earlier? Would you have time to prepare? We can find out for you.
Can you
But
help me
this,
understand the dangers I might be looking forward to?
indeed, you may be better prepared than most. May I offer this for you?
Let's kick down the door.
And with that, Harmony comes up to you and extends their hand. But as they do this time, their left hand reaches up and pulls off the glove on the right hand. And as they extend it, you see that this is a very pale humanoid, but very pale, very thin, almost a little sickly looking hand. But the hand comes out and the glove is extended. The glove comes off and the hand is extended. Trust?
Mm, I don't trust many,
Hmm.
but this is something I feel needs to happen.
Then trust you will learn. Shakes.
Shake.
Harmony takes a step back and starts unwinding the dressings from their head. And where you expect there to be eyes, there is a smooth, flat, expansive skin. Nothing. Absolute nothingness. Nothing for no detail, no texture, no anything. The mask still stays on, and the smile still remains, but the complete absence of a face immediately unsettles you. There are no eyes, there are no features, there is no nose, there is just skin. But as Harmony leans closer to you, and as you look into this expanse and look where the eyes should be, you start to feel a powerful sense inside yourself. And all of a sudden, the sparks and the dots that you've started to see behind your eyes start to grow greater and greater and greater and more intensive. And suddenly, give me a perception check.
Perception.
With a 9, the room has grown very, very quiet. You can still look around, and as you do, you see figures still standing, but everything is moving in the slowest of motion. Waterfalls that seem to be bubbling out. The water moves at a crystalline, slow pace. The brooms that you've seen brushing around, cleaning the floor, are barely able to move. These slow levers cranking back and forth that have now almost locked themselves into place. And as Harmony begins to bandage up his head again, you hear a quiet voice emit from the inside and go, "So I take it you killed a time traveler recently."
I don't know that's what he was. If you say that's what he was, he just seemed old.
Hmm. Maybe he wasn't the time traveler. Maybe it was another piece of his work, but You have the passage on you.
What's the passage?
The passage is, how would you describe this? The raw stuff you need to control time. Time as an asset to be used in your life. Keres runs on a cycle of destruction. For hundreds of thousands of years, as best we can tell, our city is built, we live our lives, the elementals come, the god defeats the elementals, and we rebuild. And this repeats over and over. The cycle is essential to the way that we live our lives. But to guarantee that this cycle is able to perpetuate itself, sometimes you need ways of making certain that the wheel will always turn. And you, whether you intended to or not, have the passage on you. And that means that you have attracted the attention of our god.
Um, okay, that sounds like it has uh, bad implications one way or the other. It's hard to tell which.
They're both good and they are bad. Let's put it this way. If you were to go ahead and bury this amongst yourself, if you were to simply not choose to engage in hand to hand combat, and you were to avoid the peering eyes of those who would seek to challenge those greater than them, you could go and continue your life as you saw fit. Maybe you would hear communion from our God, but for the most part, you could live your life as you saw fit. The flip side, the opposite, the opportunity presented to you is that should you choose to develop this as a skill of your own, you could make a name for yourself far outside of the borders of Caries. In fact, you could be one of the greatest fighters the world has ever known. Those who keep the passage are the centerpiece of the festival. Those are the ones that our god chooses to be their champion to defend on the front lines against the elementals. It is a revered and sacred role, and in fact, the greatest sense of purpose that we get from the festival is who among us is worthy to be selected as a champion of our god. And you, before us today, an Ion with two colors of eyes and all of the pelts to go with it, and you're a contender. You are marked. Bet you didn't think that would happen when you smashed a gear into pieces, did you?
I'm smashed a gear.
Indeed, you did. Must have been the way that it happened. That's the typical way in which such magics are kept.
Interesting.
Make a history check real quick. Actually, no. This would be such a low DC on this one. As you remember the fight with the Gear Knight, there was a Constitution saving throw that everybody had to
Hmm.
do right at the very end of the fight, when the knight was finally destroyed and the dust went up into the air.
Yep. Uh, I remember. I was just being vague with him.
Ah, understood. So just making sure then that you remember that that was the inciting
Yeah.
incident.
Yep. I do. I do.
Excellent. So with that, it goes, well, if that is something that you've experienced, I would suggest this. You would be well advised to keep this secret to yourself until you feel comfortable defending the title that comes along with such power. It'll manifest itself in fits and starts, but if you carefully seek out ways of developing this skill within yourself and speak to others who have experienced the passage, well, I think that you would learn how to manifest and harness this power for yourself. It'll take time. It'll take weeks, months, maybe even years. But if you have the potential, it would be a shame to see a contender like yourself taken out before your prime.
Do the champions compete, or are they
Mm.
in league? If I if I approach a champion, if I find one, will he want to work with me or will he try to work against me? Is this a place that I need to keep, or is this a place amongst many that is respected amongst those?
It will depend on the individual. For instance, you are in the presence of one who carries the passage right now, and Harmony sort of bows his head and gestures towards himself. I, at one point, was a contender, and I myself have now taken my retirement with some grace. I was not cut out for the grandest of stages. And in fact, I believe you may have met another in your time in the Northern Crossroads already. I saw you at the Hot Tide restaurant, Crinkle Von Tinkle, correct?
Yes.
On the gnome to the south. Crinkle himself is a former champion. So, with you joining, there's, I wouldn't say a brotherhood, I wouldn't say a fellowship, but there is a acknowledged and begrudging respect. For those who've been through the experience and have fought on the behalf of our god, I would say that you will more often than not find either respect or horror. You'll find respect from those among us who've survived the challenges, and you will find horror among those who are not suited for the tasks that our god laid out for us. But for those who would still seek our god's favor, they're the ones you need to keep an eye out for, because for them, you're really their competition. And if they make eye contact, all they have to do is look long enough and they'll start to see those spots come to the surface. And from there, you may be obligated to defend yourself.
Mm. So,
Choose your fights carefully, is what I am saying, for the foreseeable future. Until you can know with certainty that your powers can manifest to your will, and to your will, Harmony gives you this, again, this blank eyed, no expression, like sense of looking you up and down. I would be very surprised if you were not able to wield this power with great success.
hmm, that is something to think on. Um, all right. The champion of a god that I've never seen or had no interest in until today
You,
is.
you would not be the first. Think of it as a gift, an invitation of sorts. The door is open, it is now up to you to decide if you wish to walk through it. Again, you could continue living your life, just simply with the occasional second missing and, a periodic attempt on your life. It's not even to say that you have to serve the god. The god does not seek champions for selfish gain. The greatest benefit of serving the god is earning the god's favor and receiving a wish from the god. You really are new to Keres, aren't you?
Mm, yes, I haven't been here long.
Hmm. Wishes can become real if you earn the god's favor. And that is reason enough that many will go to extreme lengths to become its champion.
When is the festival due again?
The next festival should be in about 6 to 7 months.
This happens every year.
And it has for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, and waves willing, hundreds of thousands of years more to come.
So this is something everybody wants and carries.
Hmm.
Is there a loss of life, or is this just a destruction of the city?
We do everything we can to limit the loss of life. Our texts talk about great disasters in the time before our establishment, the early civilizations and settlements of Keres. And we would be remiss if we did not talk about the Scorn's presence as our protector of the material plane here in Keres, giving us the structure that we needed to defend ourselves against the elementals. But for the locals, of course, this is why we live here. 11, 12 months of perfect weather a year. all for just 2 weeks that we're forced to defend and earn our keep, earn our place in this land of plenty. It's an exchange we're willing to make.
Mm. How are you able to rebuild something like this building so fast?
Oh, you really are an interested member of the Rising Tide, kind of chuckles to himself. This is the magic of our waters, the Keresian waters beneath the god itself. The sound of 1,000 crashing waves produces divinity within the waters of our ocean. And so, if you are to mix that ocean water, sand, and arcane power, well, that's what the great crafts wizards are for of the cities. We're able to rebuild all of downtown Keres in a matter of weeks and the surrounding settlements in the matter of months. Every year it's a rebuilding process, but we plan extensively for this. We go to such great lengths to guarantee a quick and successful return. And yes, there is loss of life for those who do not evacuate in time or those who choose to place themselves in harm's way, but we have a long and proud tradition of our community coming together as one to resist this onslaught.
Hmm. Well, it's a very interesting place. Well, I hope to see the next festival. I'm interested in seeing a god
Indeed.
rather
And
than just experiencing their wrath.
I would say that based on what you carry beneath your skin, our God will be interested in seeing you too. Come back anytime. We would be happy to arrange for an augury or a communion. If you would like to try to speak, we would just need the time to arrange for such a ritual in advance.
Is that the next door to open?
Oh, the next door will come from mastery of your skills. You will need to learn how time can be manifested, and unfortunately, that is beyond my ability to teach. That is an independent journey that one must take. But as the powers manifest, and as in these moments of duress you're able to harness greater and greater, uh, the path to the door will make itself apparent. This is the nature of communion with a god. The god is a wise and guiding presence in our lives.
So you're saying these spots and lapses in time I have are beneficial
They are the first.
path to that.
They are the first step. They are the beginning stages, the first twitches of a muscle coming to life, imbued with energy. And the energy that you are exploring here is the ability to manipulate a new dimension, the ability to move faster or to move slower and to have that will spread out into the areas around you. The idea of setting a reference point and then being able to return to that reference point, to be able to loop yourself over and over. There are many ways in which these powers manifest themselves, even. What's the expression? To be able to knock somebody into next week. All of these things are available for those who can manipulate time.
Wait, did you mean literally?
Possibly. I have not seen a barbarian who's been able to manifest this power at the festival for many years now. It would be interesting to see if it still rode.
How old are you? How long have you been? How many festivals have you seen?
Hmm. Make an insight check. You did a 12, but you got a 12, but they have 12 plus mod. So
Mm.
you're not able to get a particularly clear read off of it, especially since you can't quite figure out what race they are. It would have been a lot easier if it was distinctly a human or an elven or like bless the bloody bastards, even like a dwarven appearance. But because the skin is so smooth and so polished, you really don't know what it is exactly that you're looking at. So instead, the head just sort of tilts and begins wrapping the bandana back across the expanse and says, Now, those are the sorts of questions that we ask once we've gotten to know each other better.
One more question, if I may.
Of course.
I've been asked a couple times if I'm the bear. Uh, do you know what that might mean?
Hmm. The bear. You are of the Iron Nation, correct?
Yes.
And you don't take any offense to the terminology? I suppose then that's us Parisians showing uh, a little bit of our own provincial nature. We would assume that calling someone the bear is a little bit of a stereotype. Ions are well known and well respected for their ferocious attitude, and enough Parisian children grow up learning the song of Yaya the Fist that Yaya and the bear spirit are both well known. We would assume that calling an Ion a bear would be little offensive, but if you're saying that's not the case, I'll have to keep that in mind for the future.
Um, Bears are strong, ferocious animals,
Mm,
maul at will if they so desire. I don't take offense to that. In fact, I kind of identify with it.
If you identify it, then compliment someone the next time they do so. It will be so off-putting just for the satisfaction of watching someone terrified that an ion has received a compliment. That will be a very entertaining moment. You are not what I expected. You are contemplative and thoughtful, and you possess great power within yourself. You haven't threatened to bludgeon my brains in once during this conversation. I'm almost a little disappointed.
I left Aya because there was it was less than civilized. I wanted to expand horizons rather than just pillaging and taking
Hmm.
whatever I needed. I wanted to earn something, and I feel um, I needed to leave to do that.
Mm.
And I had no particular ties. I had adopted family, but they were, well, they're barbarians, to
Mm.
put it bluntly.
And a shame for all the value that a community brings, a fellowship brings. I hope you're able to find that here in Caries. There are many unique and wonderful things about this place. But the way in which we come together in all of our differences, but in our shared goal of protecting our city, I think that you will find a great joy here. So, Gryson the Bear, I wish you the best of afternoons. You see the bandage is fully reaffixed at this point and like tied. And as Harmony goes ahead and takes a couple of steps forward and puts a hand up to the barrier bubble. And by the way, I may have been remiss in hearing this information, but is it true that young Sasona challenged you?
Yes, I believe it was an elf. I believe that was her name. I didn't pay much attention other than just very grumpy elf.
Hmm. You will have to forgive Sasona. She is headstrong and a bit of a she's a personality, but she means well once you've asserted yourself. Don't be
It's what
afraid.
I do best.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to defend yourself if she puts on a good front. But be prepared to
Well,
defend yourself when she puts on a good front.
we'll find out tonight.
Indeed. You may not see me, but I guarantee you I'll be watching. And I look forward to seeing how your match goes.
That's a bit disturbing, but okay.
We are but
I see.
humble cleaners, Gryson. Surely you've realized that by now. All we
Ah,
all we do is
cleaners.
after you.
No, just that's all I had. You seem much more than cleaners, but you do clean. It's apparent.
Mm-hmm. Because we must do everything we can to make this the kind of world that we want to live in. And that's the line between life and death. And walks through the barrier between the office and the rest of the room. And as you come back in, the sound of the rushing water immediately hits your ears, and you're suddenly able to appreciate exactly how quiet it's been for the last few minutes while you've been talking with Harmony. Well,
Okay.
I wish you the best of luck. Do not write off the crashing waves just because of their misguided acolyte, but kick her ass for me, would ya?
I will do my best.
It was a
Thanks again for some insight, and he'll be hearing from me again.
You're very welcome. Oh, and one last question. One I wouldn't say question, but one last piece of advice for you, Gryson.
Mhm. Okay.
There's already a member of ours amongst your group. Should say
Hmm.
hello to them sometime. Let them know that they're not as alone as they think. Tell them Harmony said hello.
Can you tell me which member that is?
Now, that would be telling. As you see the corners of the mask curl up in what has been the only unmistakable smile that you've seen behind the mask this entire time.
Haha, made you smile.
Indeed, you did. Take care, Gryson the Bear. I look forward to seeing your exploits.
Well,
There you go. And with that, you are free to exit the temple. As you enter through the main
sounds a whole
atrium,
bunch of
Steve.
interestingness.
Yeah, as as you enter through the atrium, Steve goes, "Ah, ah, no, it's a nightmare. It's a big bastard bard. It's a pissant. It's a bard of the bear. Bard of the bear." He slumps and falls back over. Clearly, you've made a bit of an impression.
Uh, just roll my eyes and walk on.
um, so there you go. Indeed, as you leave the temple, the spots are behind your eyes. But this time, give me one more perception check.
Hmm.
This time with a 5, you notice that rather than being quite like lights that are going ahead and like burning into your eyes, it really just reminds you more of like that the sense of fireflies, quick little bursts. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less, but all the while you're starting to get for the first time this vague sense of a presence behind it, that this isn't something that's happening to you. It's something that might be happening with you.
Interesting. Okay.
Excellent. Would you like to, with that, would you like to make a next move? Would you like to take a little bit of a break before we get you into a brawl, or what you feel like?
Um. Well, how long apparently did that take? Was that?
Uh, I'd say that between that you'd probably be into about like midday at this point. You know, if you wanted to, accelerate time, that would be an option. If you wanted to hit anywhere else or meet any other NPCs, that's definitely an option. It's all up to you.
Um. Hmm. I am interested in the other temples. Different perspectives and such.
Oh yeah.
But probably not right now. I think that's probably a lot to take in at the moment. Let's
Hmm.
go. Let's. Blah, 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 blah. Said midday. Where
Yeah.
was the person that had the snacks? What was it like? Can't remember her name.
Oh, the donuts.
Yeah. There
Yeah,
you
that,
go.
that was Mariana Knight. She was
Uh,
over at the night market with all of the weird little critters selling their wares hither and fro.
let's go get a donut.
A donut, a wonderful decision for a midday snacking option. So as you go ahead and make your way over to the night market, heading west down along the main path, you actually see Sasona, the rude and garrulous elf who was giving you a hard time earlier, kind of sees you passing along, and in that awkward way of like two people who like we got like a thing we got to resolve later, but we're not gonna like deal with it. Like she like gives you an eye contact and gives you like one of those like angry squints. Is like, yeah, I'm watching you as she storms off towards her temple, spear over her shoulders.
Just wave.
She, uh, she scowls in response. Um, And as you go ahead and make your way over to the night market, you're actually able to appreciate for the first time here that, especially now that you've met the rising tide, um, things around the North Crossroads are really pretty darn clean. The stones that make up this little like communal area that you're on are all relatively new, well polished. There's a little bit of like dirt and grime that's sort of like caked its way into the grout, but the stones themselves have like that like smooth kind of appearance of being well washed on the regular. And as you're making your way over to Mariana, you see her pulling one thing out of an oven deep inside of the tents. And she extends a hand, waves it over, goes, "Well, Gryson, how's it going? It's so nice to see you again."
Mm, just came by for a midday snack.
Oh, well, you came to the right place. I've got more than my fair share here of things for you. What can I get you? Can I get you a donut? Can I get you a Long John, Bear Claw, Nosh, Nosh and Spice? What would you like?
Let's go for a bear claw.
Bear Claw. And you see that she kind of like looks a little like awkwardly around at first and goes, "Not a problem, coming right up." And she darts behind the table, sort of pulling out a paper bag, and starts pulling out a little selection of bear claws for you. How many claws would you like? Yeah, just the I'm
Bear
so,
claws. You can say bear
I'm
claws.
sorry, is
It's
that
okay.
offensive? I really don't mean to be offending anybody. I'm just trying to do my best. And you hear so much about, ions when you're growing up. You don't want to be jumping to conclusions. Is that
Mm,
all right?
it does not offend me.
It doesn't. Oh. Oh, well, that's a relief. And she goes ahead and she grabs an extra one, like an extra one. She says, "This one's on the house as a thank you for your understanding." But we just grow up. We hear so much about the way that you fly around and all of that. It's a little exciting to meet one of y'all in the flesh.
Mm, don't be too excited.
Oh, well, why wouldn't I be? I've never seen a flying boulder in person, and for you, that was just like
Mhm.
going down to the store.
It's a little more involved than that, but sure.
Well, I suppose you're right. There's a little bit more to making donuts than there is, whipping up some dough and throwing it in the fryer too, I suppose. Well, least I can do for you then. And you know what? What's your favorite flavor? Do you like Spreck, Breck, Nosh, or strawberry?
Uh, is there any that give me? It's out of character. Is there any that give me like benefits? Like any?
um, Fortunately, Sprek Breckennosh, it's all pretty much like the same kind of bamboo-like plant. It's all just like in different parts of its life cycle. So like it's a little
Mm,
bit like more savory as like Sprek, then it gets a
like
little sweeter by the time it's Breck, and then by the time it's Nosh, it's like cream basically. It's like super like flavorful and kind of like vanilla-y.
mm, nosh sounds delicious.
Oh, absolutely. Get you a Nosh and spice right up. Would you like it with ginger or cinnamon?
Cinnamon.
Oh, of course. You got a good tongue on you. And she goes ahead and reaches behind and takes out a little vial of this very finely ground cinnamon. Uh, pops open the top and shakes it over onto. You look, and it's this beautiful, like little like four buns, all sort of connected together, squared off along the edges, but interconnecting in the center. And as she gives it just like this little twist of her hand, the Nosh gets this beautiful, shimmering kind of garnish of sugar and cinnamon on the top of it. It smells great. It smells like the best like cookie frosting, kind of like rich, like sweetie kind of snack you could imagine.
Okay. I'll take that, and I'll put 25 silver on the
That's you that
table.
you're really very kind, but I do want you to go ahead and keep a little for yourself here. And so she goes ahead and actually only takes 10 out of the pile,
Mm,
pockets those, keeps them for herself, and gives you 15 back, and goes, "You know what? We're doing all right for ourselves. I just like seeing you come by to support the business. You keep coming by with those 10 silver. I'll make sure you got a little bit extra the next time, and the time after that too."
okay. Well, thank you very much. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Is there anything else I can help you out with, or do while you're in town?
I'm trying to think of what the other thing. The spots, the fight, the spots. There was one other thing I wanted to. Oh, I was looking for the bear comment, but
Hmm.
that's I guess really kind of resolved.
Uh,
Um,
I
kind
mean,
of.
sort of.
And
You got one person's perspective
yeah,
on it.
yeah. Um, I wanted to ask you the question about the bear. I mean, obviously, you find that you 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 feel that it was offensive to Ions to call them bears. What might you know other than, well, an offensive comment? Um,
Well, it's mostly that, the good common sense among Parisians is, if we made an iron, you want to be deferent. You want to go ahead and make sure that they get what they want, because if they don't get what they want, I don't mean to make any kind of assumptions, but so the saying goes, don't give an iron what they want if you want a boulder through your window. So for us, we're just we're just a little scared, a little nervous when dealing with most ions. And to call one the bear, well, you grow up as a kid and you hear Yaya the Fist, and you go, Yaya the Fist, Yaya the Best, with the bear, with all the mist. You hear the story and you just think, well, you don't want to be calling, this powerful conquerors, a little kid story, but the bear spirit, for Yaya the Fist. We just don't want to we just don't want to be making all sorts of broad assumptions. We want to get to know people on a one-on-one basis, and uh, when all you really know is some folk songs, you really don't get the proper perception of an individual. Now, you know what I'm saying?
well, I will tell you that I am probably not your typical Ion. So
Really?
maybe still beware, but I won't take offense. I just can't tell you that none of them will.
Well, that is an important thing to know, and I will be certain to go ahead and restrict my tongue accordingly in the future. Is it all right if I call you the bear, though? It is real exciting to meet a real lion in person, though.
Yeah, it's fine, but Gryson is fine.
If you say it, you have it. Gryson, it is.
Also, if you do run into an Ian who starts causing trouble, let me know. I'd be happy to help.
Well, for what I know, and I've only been in the North Crossroads for a few years now. Every time that we've had an iron come to town, everybody's known about it all at once. So, you keep your eyes open to the skies, and if I see anything, I'll be sure to make you the first one who knows anything about it. Uh, you don't have a boulder of your own to get up there into the sky, do you?
Mm, maybe. I usually just take him when I need him.
You're amazing. I can't believe that this is really what it is. And thank you for not lopping my head off. I know that that's not what the typical Iron thing to do would be, but or maybe it is, but you are a sweet and
Well,
kindly folk is what I want to say.
mm, sweet. Okay. I just have a question. Is there a place that sells books somewhere?
Well, let's see here. If you're looking for books exactly, I would say you'd be well served by heading up towards the city hall, Crafton Hall. That's where Mayor Asima is, and Mayor Asima's got one of the best book collections I've seen. A couple in the government buildings. Garloth does a pretty good job of tracking down like specific titles. And if you're looking more for like something historical, oh, the Scorn Tech outlet to the east has usually got something, but they'll make you pay an arm and a leg, and most people just come out of there with a commemorative pen anyway. So
I don't have any need for writing, just a bit of reading.
no, of course not. But usually the people who come in there, they come out with some sort of flaming broadsword or whatever. So Scorn Tech's always worth a stop by, even if you're not buying.
That's the place directly to the east.
Yes, indeed it is.
Hmm. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome, Gryson. And remember, you come back tomorrow, you got another bear claw waiting for you.
I appreciate it.
You have
Have
a
a good day.
you as well now. And you see Mariana cracks a really big smile and gives you like a little wavy hand goodbye. You totally one made her day by being a repeat customer, and two by not being like outrageously like over the top about the iron thing. You pretty she left about as happy as you could have left her.
Good to know for something that makes good donuts.
Indeed, the donut maker and the coordinator of the local marketplace is a wonderful person to have on hand. So you're getting into like afternoon at this point. Still got a little time to kill before the evening. What would you like to do next?
I want to get a copy of the Yaya, um, the 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 Yaya and the Fist
Oh, a copy of the
fairy
kids
tale.
book. Yeah.
Because I left mine behind in the library, and I would like to get one. And I'm assuming there is some text I could read to. I assumed I know that, but why not have
Yeah.
a
Well,
copy of it?
give me an investigation check. With an
Eh,
11. All right. So you're going to have to do a little bit of scouting about here because, for what it's worth, you've gotten a couple of references for places. Scorn Tech's kind of higher end. Garloth would almost certainly be able to track it down, but then you'd be dealing with Garloth. There's a pretty good book collection up in the mayor's office, from what you heard, up to the northeast. And then there's also a couple other places. There's like the Scrolls building as well. That's an option way to the north. But with that in mind, any of them may give you some decent results. Where would you like to go first?
Um, let's go to the mayor's office.
Mayor's
Why
office.
not?
Excellent, excellent. So you know that that is going to be far to the northeast, and so I will go ahead and schloop you on up there. Bam. There we are. And with that, let me go ahead and grab a fresh dew here real quick. I will be right back.
No problem.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome back.
I have been recaffeinated, and all is well. All right. As you make your way, and it takes you maybe a good, 5-ish minutes to make your way over there. North Crossroads isn't like a huge town, but it's also, big enough that it'll take you a little bit to get from one end to the other. You make your way through the town and up to the northeast, where the crafting hall and town hall is arranged, all sort of a one-in-one, all-in-one building. Um, as you look, the doors are open, but there is a enormous steel colossus standing on the inside, sort of waiting patiently for you. It stands about 7 or 8 feet tall, big pieces of polished metal. Some leather patches that have been like really nicely sewn onto it. And you notice the recurrent red black pattern that you've seen on a couple of buildings in town on the statue. Behind the desk, you see a fairly well dressed tabaxi, cat person. Looks like they're scribbling away on a big pile of notes that they've been keeping to themselves. But with that, you enter the hall, this relatively gleaming and polished building of interesting materials, stone and metal. What would you like to do?
Uh, Step in. But yeah.
By all means. As you do, the statue goes ahead and and like takes a very low step forward in front of you. And the tabaxi goes, "No, no, no, Desire, sit down, relax, relax. Just go back to your post. It's a new one. Oh, hello, welcome to North Crossroads. I am Mayor Asimar. Welcome to our crafting hall and town hall. How can I be of assistance for you today?"
First, I just wanted to say I really like your town so far.
Oh, why,
Um,
thank you. It is a challenge to last tempest to tempest, but we really do the best with what we have available to us. I appreciate that deeply. Please, make yourself at home. Take a seat. And gestures
and
to a bunch of squashy leather chairs available in the corner.
I'd like to do a history check on the stonework of this building.
Oh, yeah, go for it. Give me history with advantage.
I had advantage. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, it was 19. Nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
19, awesome. Very familiar sense to the stonework as you're walking in here. This building also has been constructed probably within the last year. Again, it's made from the same kind of stone. You're noticing that kind of granite-like consistency, a little porous, kind of that sandstone, sedimentary kind of feel to it. And again, this little iridescence of these blues, greens, and like pale pinks that sort of catch your eye intermittently as the light goes. It's not quite iridescent, but certainly at the right angle will catch the light at just the right way. Um, Again, the thing that you're kind of taken aback by is they're not supremely well designed buildings. Like they're missing sort of the refinement of like a classically designed building with like soffits and a lot of features with it. But just to hew this much stone that quickly is the kind of magic that you can't even begin to wrap your brain around.
They're temporary buildings that are only designed to last a year. So,
There you go. Well, temporary buildings designed to last a year, but the construction itself is sturdy. It's being certainly made with materials that don't imply that the buildings themselves are slipshotted in their design or like poorly crafted. They just lack some of the refinement and the detail that would come from an architectural piece designed to last, let's say.
mm, okay.
So
Uh, what
temporary,
was
but it
what
doesn't
was
have that like that FEMA, like temp shelter kind of vibe to it,
sure? Sorry. Step back. What was
Mhm.
the lady's name who sells the donuts?
That was Mariana Knight.
That's right.
Hmm.
Knight.
Hmm. And she's a cousin to the Knight sisters, second cousin to the Knight sisters.
have that some written down somewhere in my notes.
Hmm. Mira, Mura, and Mara Knight. Mira, Mura, Mira, and Martha Knight. And the fine tabaxi
Okay.
that you are speaking to right now is Mayor Asimar. Pardon me, Mayor Asima. Not Asimar. Asima.
Mayor Asthma,
Yes.
like ASIMA.
Hmm.
Well, Sir Asthma, um, I I heard that you have quite the collection of books, and I'm just simply here to look for a specific book.
Mmm. Interesting. I wouldn't necessarily. Don't mean to be jumping to conclusions, but normally people don't come asking for my lending library. An interesting turn. What book are you looking for?
It's just an Iron fairy tale book, the Yaya the Fist.
Uh,
Is that
Asima gives
right?
you. Mhm. Yaya the Fist. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Asima gives you just that quick look up and down that you're kind of being used to at this point. He goes, "Oh, but of course, I would be more than happy to grab something. Is this a family story that you're interested in reconnecting with? Pardon my curiosity."
Just a part of my history that I wouldn't mind having a copy for reference.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me see what I can do for you. And you see that.
And
Oh, go ahead.
one sec. I'm sorry. To be honest, I'm looking to purchase a copy. And if yours is just simply for lending, I would prefer if you can point me in a direction where I might purchase a copy.
Well, I have a standing arrangement with Garaloth, so it's not a challenge for me to track down a fresh book if the situation calls for it. I'll be honest with you, I haven't read Yaya the Fist in many years. I think I could uh, dare to part with my personal copy, but give me just a moment here. And you see that Mayor Asima touches a necklace sort of buried within their robes. You can just see the chain kind of peering out around their neck. They touch something within their robes on their chest, whisper something to the large golem looking individual, and the golem begins to walk up the stairs um, and proceeds to disappear. Desire will go ahead and grab that for you. It'll take them just a little while. The collection isn't too hard to make your way around, but I must admit I'm not keeping up with my filing in the way that I used to. Uh,
The golem's name is Desire.
yes, indeed. Desire is loaned to us by Scorntech, one of the protectors of the assets that we have within City Hall here.
I'm sorry, it was loaned by who?
Scorntech. They're one of the local manufacturers of magical equipment and weaponry within the Parisian range.
Those they might be good to know.
you. Oh, I forget you are not a local. You've never had a proper experience with Scorntech yet, have you?
I don't believe so. That's not where we got the battle axe, was it?
No, Battle Axe, that was the Smithworks. Scorntech, that's the
Okay.
red and black building that's like just to the east of the open air market.
The expensive place. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Um, so with that, the mayor goes ahead and kind of gives the curious tilt of the head and goes, "Well, if you're looking to go get yourself some fairly advanced magical technology, they're the only place to go. As far as I'm
Mm.
concerned, they're a bunch of reprobates and usurpers in waiting. But for where I sit, they also make the finest golems that anyone's ever seen. So." Uh, it's an arrangement that we can come to a mutual understanding regarding.
Mm. I have some fellow compatriots who may be more interested in that sort of thing than I, but I'll pass that along.
Indeed, it is always a question of what your interest is with the Dragon's Horde. For myself, it's simply just making sure that they don't kick me out of office.
Mhm. Um, wait, kick you out of office. What?
Of course, I am but an elected leader. Uh, you don't want to hear a long discussion of Parisian politics, but spare to say, it is the grand ambition of any corporation or organization within Keres to eventually rise to the place of power on the Keres City Council, at which point your will gets to be dictated for things like mayors, appointances, contracts. Um, for me, I am a representative of the council proper. Thus, the reason why things are so well organized in this town. Not to say that they couldn't be well organized if Scorntech were in charge, but perhaps it'd be a little bit more difficult for me to find the comfortable arrangements in which I have grown suited.
Mm. So you appease them to advance your own motives.
I would say a mutual codependency. For if there was no Cary City Council to defend, there would be no Scorntech to defend them. If there was no weakness presented by our own inabilities, to push technology in a way that only a inspired dragon and his horde can, we would have to go ahead and take on the work of such an organization. And this allows us to focus on what each of us provide best. The city council focuses on the benefit of our citizens, the enrichment of our land, and the preservation of our history. And Scorntech, well, they're the ones who can go ahead and build you all of your ballistas and flaming swords and contraptions of dragon fire and so on and so forth.
Mm. Well, it sounds like a quite a beneficial commune.
Absolutely. Just if you get the opportunity, seek out the wisdom of the 18th Scorn. I would love to get your perspective on him, especially as an out of towner. I think that you would get a very interesting piece of the Parisian flavor if you're ever able to attend one of his speeches.
Political speeches.
Is it political? I wouldn't quite call it that. More of an inspiring warrior leading his champions to battle.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Again, politics, it sounds so dry, it sounds so uninteresting, but really, this is a
It is.
but this is a matter here of dragons and elementals. This is a matter of gods and war. Things here are always so much more interesting, wouldn't you say?
I haven't been here long, so I'm interested to see.
Tell you what here, and as you notice the the heavy steps of the golem coming down the staircase, book in hand, you see Mayor Asma go ahead and take out a slip and scribble onto it in sort of this florid, flourishy sort of writing, rip the parchment in half and sort of hand you the slip for it. This is a little something to tide you over. If you stop by Scorn Tech, hand this to Ki Yog. She's the receptionist behind the desk there. She'll make sure that you get a little commemorative something, courtesy of Mayor Asima.
Okay, thank you.
Just a little freebie, just something to make the introduction.
I've heard it's a pen.
It is a commemorative pen, yes. That's one of its functions.
Interesting.
Yes,
So the book.
yes.
I just put a coupon for pen in my inventory. Yeah.
Yes, Scorn Tech pen coupon in your inventory, and you can also add a copy of Yaya the Fist to your inventory as well, which I will have ready for your next session.
Perfect.
Wonderful. Well, consider both of these a welcoming present for bringing such an interesting new personality into our city limits. Again, if there's anything I can do for you, I am Mayor Asima, and I'm always excited to make the acquaintance of our new travelers. If there's anything we can assist you with, or any introductions I could help you make, always please feel free to stop by and say hello.
I will. Thank you.
The golem goes ahead and just kind of gives you a long, like, expectant hold until kind of clunks its way back into its original position, almost like it had never moved in the first place.
Seems you're well protected. Have a good day.
Protection. If only that was enough for us to all survive on. You take care. And with a wave, Mayor Asima sends you on your way.
Question. I have the plan planar members in my inventory.
You have which ones in your inventory now?
It just says plan planar members.
Oh,
Not sure.
a pan planar membership card with one punch on it.
Oh, a membership card.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And
No,
that was where
that
was
was
that
from
from?
Garloth.
Garloth. That's right.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it should be pan
Sorry.
planar, not plan planar. That's a typo.
Pan planar.
Yes,
Okay.
across
I'm
the
gonna
plane,
just
teleshopping.
Garloth. Okay. Oh, I see. That is okay. I get it now. All right. And then let's see. So I've got the filter of love.
Hmm.
I looked that up. Yeah, thanks.
That was the roll that you got.
I know. I know.
Did you
Is
read
that
the item description?
I did a little bit. It was when I first got it. I didn't look at it again last week, so my memory is gone on it.
Mhm.
It's like a love potion or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it is basically a love potion. It's got, if you click on the little text thing for it, there's a little info button next to the weight, like that little black circle.
Oh,
Yeah, and that'll open it
equipped.
up and give you some more details.
Has an attack power item adventuring gear. Next time you see a creature within 10 minutes after drinking this filter, you become charmed by that creature for 1 hour. Okay,
There you go.
interesting.
Yeah.
Not sure I see the benefit of that yet, but
You didn't Did you not read down to the second paragraph?
maybe not. I don't know. Sorry.
There's a second.
Oh, geez. Yeah, okay. There's one more. Species in general you're normally attracted to you is your true love while your charm is
Yeah, and a little further down.
to the bear. I knew it was you when I heard the mountain split. Okay,
There you go.
interesting. All right.
Mhm. So it's
All right.
chain of causality to where that would have come from, thinking about the library, who you ran
Mm-hmm,
into
mm-hmm,
there, all of
mm-hmm.
that, all of that. But that's what happened based on your roll from the magic items table B chart. So
That is a weirdly specific item. All right.
I know a
Cool.
very weirdly specific item, but that's the magic of RNG.
All right.
Yeah, so getting a little bit towards evening at this point.
Well, let's head to oh do I have time to get a quick meal?
Oh, you absolutely do have time for a quick meal, not out yet.
Um I can't get a hero's feast type of meal. That's too expensive.
Yeah, that would probably be a little bit of overkill for what you're doing. And this should
Yeah,
yeah, it's all up to you. If you wanted to go ahead and do it, I'm sure Crinkle could go ahead and cook you up something fresh.
let's just get something quick and easy. And a
Quick
beer.
quick and easy, excellent. For that, if you wanted beer or something of that sort, the bars are excellent. There's also the Hall of Boats right over this way. So
Oh, let's go check out the whole boats.
the Hall of
Uh
Boats.
is that
Bam.
over here?
Uh-huh. Pardon me while I teleport you on over. Oh, where'd you go?
Oh, I'm down here. There we go.
There you go. The Hall of Boats. So as you walk over towards this part of the Undersquare, the light starting to dim in the plaza, you go ahead and notice two buildings side by side with each other. One, the building you're immediately in front of, is labeled Boats. The other one to the right is labeled Hall. So this is the Hall of Boats. From the inside, you smell all kinds of like
Mm.
strange, like meaty, vegetable-y, oily kind of smells cooking away, and the doors are wide open.
Hall of Oats. Hall and Oats.
The Hall of
Sorry.
Boats, precisely.
All right. Um, is one a bar and one a restaurant? Is that what I'm
Um,
gathering?
one's the restaurant where they cook the food. The other place is where they eat the food.
Ah, I see. Which one should I go into, or doesn't it matter?
I'd say that you probably want to start with the boats. Start with the place to actually get the food.
Mm.
So as you enter, you are immediately accosted by a furious bout of swearing in a language that I don't believe you understand. What languages do you know?
Let's see. I know Iron, Common, Dwarvish, and Giant.
Interesting. So you don't know the majority of the words that are coming out of that are being thrown around, but you catch like every other third word in giant, mostly just cusses. Inside of this small, like very like steamy, like smoke-filled room, you see a giant-like individual. Maybe not full giant. You've seen some pretty big, beefy boys in the past. This one's a little bit smaller, so maybe like ogre, half giant type. Furiously trying to work his way through a enormous pile of tough, like viscous, like stringy-looking meat that he's pounding to ever-loving hell with his fists into almost like a ground beef. Next to him is this green skinned, heavily armored individual who's carrying this long, like bladed knife, by which he's furiously trying to fillet like a series of fish. And you see just like skeletons being like pulled out, scales getting peeled off in like single swipes. And this shorter individual is furiously cussing at the ogre, who in turn goes ahead and rockets back with a series of expletives. It's pretty intense in here, but it's clear that these two have been working with each other for a while. The gentleman with the long paring knife sees you as you walk in and goes, "Ah, what can I get you?"
Food.
Cool. What do you want?
Meat.
Meat. Got it.
Beer.
Stumps, go ahead and make him something. What beer? What beer you want?
Something dark and stouty and full.
Dart, stouty, and full. Stumps, take care of it, would ya? And you go ahead and hear the individual here go, "I am a take care of it now." As he goes ahead and takes a couple of very slow steps to the other side of the room, unloading.
New around these parts. That there Stumps cooks good. He's my sous chef. And I myself, I'm Rocky. I'm Rocky Merchadon, but you can just call me Rocky. I'm the head chef here at the Hall of Boats. Uh, get you taken care of here, lickety split. Get you meat. What kind of meat you want? You want sausage? You want a steak? You want the gristle? What would you like?
Chef's choice.
We'll get you something nice from it.
What was
Stumps,
the
do him
ogre's
some.
name?
The ogre's name is Stumps Cooks Good. Stump Cooks Good, pardon me.
Right.
And indeed, give me a perception check. Nice. With a 14, you're actually getting a sense that despite how intense the interactions are between, the chef and his sous chef, the two of them actually have a pretty good working relationship with each other. And despite how virtually every action Stump makes gets him yelled at, it seems like his last name may be true. He seems like he's a pretty decent cook. Stump goes ahead and after running around gets you a hefty flagon of mead, gets you a interesting plate with what looks like to be some sort of like pork sausage and like filleted meat on top of it. Hands it over to you on a plate and go, "I'll be 20 silver."
Thank you. It's like a well-oiled machine in here.
Oh, it is. 'Cause people got to eat's good. So Stump's cooks good for the eatings.
And you see Rocky go ahead and give him a quick little nod. I was like, "Yes, you got it right. Now get back to work." And it's like whacks him with the broad end of the knife, and the two of them, tack, hack, 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 get back to cooking. A little dwarven man comes in after you and demands a couple of convoluted dishes of his own, and you see the two of them get back to work.
All right, go eat. Baha.
Excellent, and you do. Give me a quick perception check.
Perception.
Mhm. With a 17, the hall is kind of an interesting place. It's a little bit before like what you would guess would be the equivalent of like the dinner rush. But as you're looking around, you see sort of an odd assortment of characters. Um, you see what looks like to be some sort of like large ant-like creatures, all of which sort of working together, like eating in harmony with each other. You see a pair of goblins over by the bar itself. The bar doesn't seem to be manned right now, but the goblins don't seem to mind. They're laughing with each other hysterically and like falling into their tankards. Um, However, with a 17, you also notice that based on your previous roll of a 20, you also notice a member of the Rising Tide making their way around the edges of the room, scrubbing away on the floors, cleaning and trying to get a couple of stains up from the barrels in the back.
Okay. I'm just gonna eat in peace.
By all means. Um, as you're eating, a small pig-like man comes squirreling up next to you, gives you a little and points at your bowl.
My bowl.
Yes, the plate of meat that you are consuming.
Um, I.
He seems like he's getting progressively more like excited about something.
Um, an insight check to see what he might want.
Absolutely, give me an insight check. With a seven, it seems very much like there is a confused and angry pigman pointing his finger at your food and making some kind of a demand. But you see another small, like lithe tabaxi figure come over and go, "Please pardon my friend. It doesn't have much by the way of manners. We'll just be going. He was inquiring about the nature of the food that you'd picked up here. I do apologize. I don't mean for him to cause you any trouble." Cat sort of drags the pigman back over, who seems still a little perturbed, still a little bit like preoccupied with your food, but seems like he's back to the table on the other side.
Okay. I'm just gonna continue to eat.
And indeed, each you do. And so as the light is getting a little bit dimmer here, and as you start to see the shadows start to grow long, even inside of the Hall of Boats, you start to notice a crowd start to form on the out at the Undersquare.
Oh, I because it's time. Just stand up and big stretch. Did leave a little leftovers in the plate. Not much, but a little bit for the
Good to
pig man.
good to know. The pig man sees that you left a little bit in the bowl, kind of like gives you a look, like expectantly, like eyes get like real big and wide, and kind of like looks at you and like points to himself. It's like,
Have at it.
and you see the pigman go ahead and scamper over to your bowl, pick it up, and flash you the biggest thumbs up that you've ever seen a little pigman give. Like the little like cloven hooves on one side and like the big pig thumb up on the other. He's real happy.
Okay.
All right. And so as you make your way outside, you notice a sort of loose congregation of people starting to form up along the central sculpture in the middle of the Undersquare. It's getting a little bit late, so the dim glow of the aqueduct itself is starting to fill up the room. And you see Sasona standing just to the east of the statue, spear out, going ahead and doing a couple of limbering up motions, clearly warming herself up for the conflict to come.
Mm, getting ready, I see.
Yes, it's the least I can do if I'm going to be facing you. I want to give it a good show for everyone here. Give me an insight check.
Ugh, those
Six.
never end well.
It's the wisdom's a tough one. But as you're looking at Sasona, watching her getting herself limbered up, even with a 7, you can tell that she's maybe not quite as cocky as she was earlier. And indeed, you notice that there is another gentleman, darker skinned, significantly older than Sasona, maybe like humanoid, so probably in his like 50s or so, and he goes ahead and makes a polite, like to speak to you gesture, a little to yourself.
Mm, who's this?
From quick appearance, you may not be able to judge. I don't think you've met him before, but he seems to be wearing robes of a very similar color to Sasona. I take it then that you're Gryson, right?
Uh, yes.
Gryson, I would like to apologize for your introduction to our group. My name is Perry Fenn. I'm one of the leading reflections for our organization of the Church of the Crashing Waves, and I do want to give my sincere apologies for the uh, offensive nature of my acolytes' treatment of you earlier today. Uh,
Yeah.
we have a great deal of individuals that come through the Church of the Crashing Waves, and Sasona shows a great deal of promise, but also a great deal of impetuous spirit. And I did not want you to get the impression that we of the Church of the Crashing Waves were an unkind or garrulous group simply looking to start conflict. That is not who we are. And I wanted to make that very clear and personally apologize to give you that sense in person.
No apology necessary. If somebody wants to spar, I'm all for a good spar.
That is good to know. And I will say that Sasona would still very much like to spar you. I believe she explained to you that some of her family came from Aya, and as a result, she has some preconceptions about the ways in which these conflicts are resolved. So I suppose
What
what I'm
might
asking is
those be?
I believe she's hoping for this to be a fight to unconsciousness. So here's what I would like to
Ooh,
ask. if you would be as so kind as to show my acolyte what you are capable of, I would be happy to stand in as officiator and guarantee that no blows or strikes were made lethal, but also give you the opportunity to both test yourselves to the maximum of your capabilities.
That sounds reasonable.
Absolutely. So, shall we agree then, Sasona? And Perry goes ahead and calls Sasona over, who, begrudgingly stops her exercise and warms up. Um, could we safely say that an arrangement could be made between you and Gryson here, where if this is a fight to unconsciousness, it is not a fight to the death? That once someone goes out, the lights go out, that we resolve this with a simple healing word, and then the victor is decided there, no fights to the death? Sasona kind of cocks her head, gives you a look, gives Perry a look, gives him a nod. Gryson, are you willing to agree to these terms?
Well, I wouldn't want to hurt this little angry elf.
Um, give me an insight check real quick. You definitely saw a like diagonal smile cross Perry's face when you said that. All right. So I suppose then let us make the preparations. Everyone, please. And you see that Perry goes ahead and starts organizing the crowd into a little bit of a ring. Uh, and so the group starts to organize themselves around the statue. You also notice that Garloth actually emerges from outside his kiddie pool, being hauled by Snuffles. The two of them go ahead and sort of take
Sorry.
a perch on the outside, Jim dragging this giant kiddie pool along. You see the tentacles slashing.
Ah, a contest! A contest of wills! Who would be the victor? I'm excited to find out!
Um, and so Sasona goes ahead and takes her position at the center of the field. And so Perry goes ahead and says, "All right, this is going to be a contest to unconsciousness. First one to go limp receives a healing word, and those who do not go unconscious are the victor. This will be a standard fight, all magics allowed. Uh, no killer blows from range. If there's a question if it will be a fatal blow or not from range combat, you must resolve it hand to hand. Remember, no strikes to kill." Sasoni goes ahead, cocks your spear back, twirl, 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 puts it up behind her back and goes, "I think I can live with that." Gryson, agreed?
Mm, agreed. I'm gonna take out. Um, man, I'm gonna take out the battle axe
Hell
and
yes.
just put it over my shoulder, one-handed, like.
Excellent. Sasona goes ahead and pulls back the spear into a combat position, and I'm going to have you roll initiative.
I'm not taking a battle stance. I'm just holding the axe over my shoulder.
You're not taking a you are deliberately not taking the battle stance. Excellent. So 13 for you, Sasona. Preps up here. Throw a little battle music on. All right. And I'll go ahead and have this one out in the open. Sasona comes up with a 20. All right. So, building on the position that we currently find ourselves in, Sasona immediately kicks the spear back and takes a quick dash forward. As they do, you see wind energy rising off of their body, and this sudden burst of zephyr-like energy swirls around them. They go ahead and swing the spear down into a two-handed attack. Does a 20 hit? Oh no, wait, sorry, 18.
Yes, it does.
18. Augmented with the Zephyr Strike. You take 7 points of piercing damage and 2 force damage as the spear slams into your side, draws back, and this gust of wind goes ahead and rises off of Sasona's body. She leaps backwards, and actually, let's see, uh, and positions herself clear of you without invoking an attack of opportunity. She says, she cocks a smile at you and says, "Your move, barbarian." And is now your turn.
Okay. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Can you look at the great axe?
Mhm.
Um. Oh, that's right. The +1 was the modifier for the enchantment. That's right.
Mhm.
Okay, understood. And that. What's the? Oh, that's not what I meant to do. But
Mhm.
okay. Sorry. Just looking at. So that's basically just right next to him is what I have to be to hit with that, right?
Yeah, for a great axe, you only have a range of 5 feet, so you have to be within touching distance to be able to use that.
So like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. Do you want me to use that roll or?
No, no. If you weren't intending to roll it, you weren't intending to roll it. So go ahead and give me a swing. S-
It's fine.
so you go ahead and bring this great axe down in this big swooshing motion for it. But Sasona goes ahead and fast as the blink of an eye, ping, parries with the side of the spear, pulls it back, and like flashes you a smile. Good hit, but not good enough.
Not the
Uh,
first time I've missed.
anything for your bonus or anything additional with your movement?
Um, I'm going to rage.
Oh, absolutely. And you see the beats come out.
And that's going to invoke Storm Aura
Hmm.
and obviously Tundra Aura, which gives me 2 additional temporary hit points.
You see the crowd kind of ooh as like the shimmer of frost starts to flow in through the air. Like a couple more people start to like come on out and like take a little bit better of a look at like what's going on.
Missing makes me a little angry.
Excellent. So the temporary HP coalesce around your body. Anything else for your movement?
I have a feeling it doesn't matter where I move to, so no.
Indeed, it very well could, depending on how you decided to handle that. But
Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna move around behind her. Quick.
there you go, because you can definitely do that. It's only by moving out of range that you invoke an attack of opportunity.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent.
Can I? Does my character model turn around or?
I can flip you.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
there? How do I do that?
It's I think it's just on the GM side. There's like a flip horizontal button. I'll see
Oh,
if I can.
gotcha.
I'll see if there's a way I can get that on the players because that's kind of lame that you can't.
That's not a big deal. It's more
Yeah,
aesthetic than anything, I guess.
yeah, but the aesthetics are all about getting that vibe right, which is exactly what happens as Sona turns around in a fury.
Mm.
And so with that, let's see. One charge here. Sasona goes ahead and is just simply going to do another two-handed strike with the spear. Actually, taking a cue from you now is now being like, oh, I see what you're doing. Does a bob weave, and takes a. Ooh, actually, you see a sudden thunderous clap of energy emerge around the spear. And as the spear goes ahead and drives itself into you, it's a 19 hit.
Yeah.
A sudden whack crackle of thunderous energy surrounds you. You feel your feet are actually starting to be dragged down, almost like magnetically brought to the floor. And you feel that if you were to bring your feet away, a sudden thunder boom would greet you as you hit. You take 5 points of piercing damage. The spear slides right across your chest.
Is that reduced to 3 or 2?
Reduced to 2, round down.
Okay.
Also rolled a 1 on the damage for that one. Um, and with that, Sasona will go ahead and take 1, 2, 3 steps back and take the attack of opportunity.
Oh, that's with advantage, yeah.
Attack with opportunity? No, it's just a flat hit.
Okay.
Yeah, but 21, 21 totally hits. Oh, ouch, Jesus. So 17 points. Gryson is not happy about getting screwed up like that. And in fact, immediately, tell me, how do you go ahead and deal with this pesky half elf who's been skewering you like you were a shish kebab?
Wait, that was it?
You go ahead and hit. Well, certainly not it. I'm just
Okay.
giving you some style
Whew.
points on it. No, not a how
Alright,
do you
good.
want to do
Good,
this?
good.
Jesus,
Alright, good.
just
I was
describe
gonna
the hit.
say,
Describe the hit for me.
I'm gonna just swing right straight down, like, shoulder to waist across her chest. Just
Oh, and you see like the spear tries to come up at the last second to deflect it, but that axe is way too much force behind it, and bam! It's both like impact, slice, collision, and then the push afterwards, and you see her almost like stagger and stumble. The last couple of steps of her fight, she certainly it looks stunned how much damage you were able to do to her, and although she's bleeding, she's not quite bloodied yet.
okay.
She puts herself into position, but be aware that you still feel this thunderous energy surrounding your feet.
Mhm. Um,
That'll be your
don't care.
turn.
I'm gonna move.
But
I'll take the hit.
absolutely. You take 1d8 thunder damage. So go
Okay.
ahead and I'll roll that for you real quick.
Doesn't matter how much I move?
No, if you move at all while you have the booming blade active. So you take 2 points of thunder damage.
And that's just straight thunder damage. That's not any piercing, bludgeoning,
Nope, just
or any.
two
Oh,
two
okay.
thunders. So as you raise your foot up, all of a sudden it's like the biggest piece of paper you've ever heard being like ripped in half, and all of a sudden, boom! This hit rockets up your feet, and you're briefly stunned. While oh my god, ow, shit, that was loud.
That tickles.
Indeed, it seems like it did. So you are raging away. You get right up onto Sasona. Take that shot.
Oof.
14 does not connect. As you go ahead and you're bringing around another second massive hit, Sasona manages to parry at the last possible second, and oh, you see that the blade is just an inch away from her skin before she manages to surge you back off of her. Anything for your bonus? Anything for your reaction or movement additional?
1 second. Not that yet. I'm gonna just cast Thunderous Smite and have that. Oh, actually, wait. Bonus attack. Bonus to. Sorry.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a bonus
When inspected
bonus action to
activated.
set that up.
Um. So Tundra Aura. Does that just reset? Like. So obviously, I took 2
Mhm.
points of damage when I moved, and that gets rid of my temporary hit points. So does the Tundra aura like reset then on my turn, or how does that? Because
It has an effect that activates when you enter your rage, and you can activate it again on each of your turns as a bonus action. So think about it
so
that you
I'll
got hit for
use
the
that
2.
as the bonus action.
There you go. So you can go ahead and pulse yourself another 2 temporary hit points.
Okay, perfect.
Sweet. Yeah, 2 temporary hit points and the 3. Yep, 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 yep. Excellent. So you go ahead and pulse that, and shing, you go ahead and feel that shimmery little icy aura augment your body ever so critically.
Okay, that's my turn.
All right. And so with that, Sasona goes ahead and looks at you just like bearing down on her, and she goes, ah, shit. And very rapidly, you see her hand slide down the spear towards the head and lifts it right up to you, and she flicks her hand outward. And I'm going to need you to make a constitution saving throw.
Um, strength checks. Okay, no advantage.
Yeah, normal, but you get the saving throw versus what'd you get? What'd you get? What'd you get? 14. Oh, your save was a 14. So you feel this energy rocket itself out towards you. Your feet are just about to lift off the ground, and you slam your foot down, finding purchase back onto the ground. Sasona immediately looks frustrated that her magic didn't manage to take root, and she follows it up with a plunge into you with the spear.
Oof.
26.
Oh yeah.
And so that would be since tried to do that as the action, 8 points of piercing damage, rounded down to 4. As
Mhm.
you go ahead and you take the hit, but it doesn't have like that horrible thunderous energy to it from the previous one. You see, she goes ahead and darts around you, keeping her body low, her spear low, and it's now your turn.
Um. Okay. Sorry, I gotta look at something here. I may have been rolling correctly
It's all good.
because I don't get advantage with rage, right?
No, but I think you
Reckless
only.
attack gives me rage.
Yes. No, reckless attack gives you advantage. There you go.
Yeah, I meant advantage. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so I was rolling incorrectly.
That's okay.
Doesn't matter. I failed them anyway.
Yeah, with a 10 and a 14, it was only the one, so that's forgivable. But thank you for correcting me on that.
So I'm going to screw Storm Aura. I'm gonna cast Split the Mountaintop,
Shit.
and then I'm gonna do a Reckless attack as well.
Give me that reckless.
And so there's that. And I'm trying to think of is the so that's an advantage, and then I just do a regular attack. Where's the
If you make it
advantages?
reckless, it is with advantage. Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Oh no! Um, Whew. So you go
Same
ahead.
roll.
You see that thunderous surge just plow in there, and you feel all of the energy like trying to burst its way out of your axe. You see Sasona's eyes grow wide as you go in for this massive sweeping strike, and she just like yeah, like throws herself back. Her eyes are super wide now because you're actually giving her what she had been fearing this whole time, which was that split of the mountain. Um, she looks thoroughly perturbed at this point.
As a bonus action, we cast Thunder Smite. So do I cast? As a bonus action, you may cast Thunder Smite's first level spell without using. Okay, so it's just a spell
Mhm.
that. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out what this does.
Yeah, what it does is go to your
What?
spell list now, and it should give you the spell for Thunderous Smite.
Okay, so I use that now as a spell, like
Yes.
as a separate attack.
Yeah, so what it does is you have to keep concentration on it. So once you activate it, you're now concentrating on being able to deliver that strike. If you
Okay.
make the attack and you still have concentration on it, that's what adds the extra damage to it.
Okay, so So now I just do another a thunderous smite attack, essentially. Yeah.
No, the Thunderous Smite is like an augmentation to your
So
regular
oh,
attack.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's what I was trying to figure out. All right, that's what I'm.
hmm
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all good. That's what I
Still
get
trying to
for.
figure out this combat stuff, man.
It's all good, and that's what I get for mixing like a paladin thing in with like a barbarian too. Is like it's not
No, that's
you're
right.
not supposed to have spells. What?
Well, basically I'm just basically throwing it at my axe, and it's gives me more attack power
Exactly.
while
It's
I'm
it's
swinging that axe. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it juices your axe in a big way.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
you got to keep concentration on that, which is exactly what Sasona is going to try to break next. uh, so as you come in to deliver the axe blow, it doesn't manage to connect all the way, and so Sasona leaps across, repositions, and drives the spear into your chest. Ooh, but I'm going to guess a 12 doesn't do it.
Does not.
All right. And with that,
I'm gonna parry that with the great axe and just like catch the end of the spear and the end of the axe and just like try to yank it away. I don't think. I mean, it's not going to do anything, but at least
no,
make sure
but
miss. Yeah.
but for flavor, you go ahead and see that she's getting like visibly frustrated. That that these attacks aren't doing as much damage as she thought, and also that she's stuck in like close combat with this like Iron with like full power behind him. Um, what she does then is you watch that sudden surge of wind energy come out of her body again, and she leaps. No, leaps backwards. Once again, not triggering the attack of opportunity.
Hmm.
The wind makes
Okay.
her simply the Zephyr strike is giving her too much power to allow a clean hit. Now your turn.
Not far enough.
Indeed,
All right.
close but not close enough. Well, opposite. Far but not far enough for
Well,
her.
it's still a reckless attack. Yeah.
Oh, for
Oh, for
God's
criminy
sake!
sakes!
Again,
These
maybe it's
rolls, I tell you.
maybe it's just that she's like such a thin, light little target. Maybe it's like her like cheeky little half elf smile. But you cannot seem to land a hit on Sasona right now, even as she's got all of this. As she's presenting this big target, and she's trying, man. You've got this lightning infused motherfucker of an axe, just and she's just like dodging with every single one of these swings. Um,
Uh,
bonus?
that's um. So split the mountaintop is still active, right?
Yes, it is.
Doesn't seem to go away. There's nothing really else I can do.
It doesn't go away unless you break concentration, which you're going to have
Right.
constitution checks if you get hit.
Yep. Perfect. Okay.
Perfect, because you know exactly where the tempo of that fight is currently headed. So you're going to storm aura up.
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
That's the bonus action. Thank you.
And yes, the frost reemerges over your arms. Sasona goes ahead and is looking still frustrated that you've managed to get all up in her business like this. So she goes ahead, leaps back the 30 feet. And all of a sudden, you see this radius of fog like energy bursts out of her, almost like the wind has started to become thicker around her. And a thick layer of fog, not as actually, make me an arcana check of all things, or a religion check, whichever one's higher.
I think they're both shit.
If you got an edge on one or the other.
They're both int, so it doesn't really make too much of a difference. Oh, not with advantage though. Damn it.
Hey, but
So 11.
no, the 20 is the one that went through. It's the first roll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when you roll
All right.
advantage, if you can always just take the first roll from it because that's advantage without advantage. So nat 20 on it. This is actually kind of a wild thing that you're seeing here because this is what looks to be a fog cloud spell that is being converted into some kind of a cantrip. It has the stylings of a fog cloud that you've seen wizards cast in the past, but it is on a much smaller radius. It's only just covering this individual. And as you do so, you're noticing that the wind energy rising off of them is becoming more intense. That will be their turn.
Okay. So she's 30 feet away. Yeah, 30.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna move to here, and I'm gonna put my great axe on my back and flip out the javelin.
Oh, sick. Go for
Is
it.
that an action, or is that just weapon swap? Is just a thing that happens?
I would say that unless you're trying to do it as part of something more convoluted, like if you were trying to go like great axe into the javelin as part of one, that probably wouldn't work. But if you're just switching your weapon over, we'd call that like I'd say that's like a free action to go ahead and be like axe switch javelin good.
Yep, that's all I'm doing.
All right.
A little bit of flourish as best I can to make it apparent that I'm pulling out the javelin.
Um,
Um,
and you actually hear like a ooh, like a gasp come from the crowd as now you're switching to an instrument that looks very much like Sasona's spear. There's now like spear versus spear fight. Garloth splashes around in the kiddie pool going, yes, yes, pierce the hides!
all right. So this is still a reckless. I'm gonna reckless attack.
Absolutely, but keep in mind that if you attack recklessly, with the fog cloud, you have disadvantage on it, so the two cancel each other out.
Oh, I see. So it'd just be a normal attack.
Hmm.
Uh, that's fine. That's better because then it's a normal attack versus a disadvantage attack.
Hmm. Yes,
Right?
indeed.
So yeah,
There
there we
you
go.
go. That's the money hit. You go ahead and lob that spear. Where are you aiming in this fog cloud?
Just center of the fog cloud. It's not a big fog cloud. It's just covering her. She's got to be in the middle there somewhere.
You lob and boom, center of mass. Give me that damage. Oh shit. You still there?
Yeah.
Wow, we just lost power for a nanosecond here. That was wild.
Oh, big. Is that thunder? Is that what I heard?
That was lightning in the background. Yeah, that was your
Oh,
fucking
jeez.
that was your split the mountaintop, dude. That's what it sounds like. Recris.
Oh, oh yeah. That's a 1d6 additional too, right?
1d6
Two
addition.
d six.
2d6. But with hit with a melee weapon attack during the
Oh, it's a
spell's
melee
duration.
weapon.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Yep. All
Yep.
right.
But you go ahead and you lob that one and ugh, center of mass. Sasona takes the hit. Sasona is like, oh, you go ahead and see there's like a nice steady stream of blood coming out from where that spear caught her right in the chest.
Um, that's I'm gonna move the rest of my movement closer to her though,
Go right
so that I
ahead.
can't so she can't run too far.
A legitimate strategy.
That's it. That's my turn.
All right. So Sasona goes ahead. She now, yeah, like yanks this javelin out from her chest, throws it down onto the ground, lets it clank, 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 kind of clatter. Oh, how's she gonna do this? She takes her first step around to your back, and she spins the spear around and delivers the two-handed hit
Ooh.
26.
Yep.
And so the spear comes right into your side, 8 piercing, 7 force. So you that gets 14 and 7 damage. Sorry, 4 damage and
But
7 damage.
so 11.
Hmm.
Two,
Um,
so 9.
as flap,
6.
she
Okay.
catches you like right in like the meaty part, like right underneath your ribs. And as she pulls it
Oh,
out, like there's this sort of the wind almost like it like yanks some of the blood out. There's this little arc in the air where it like splashes for a second. But as she goes ahead and moves past, Da-da-da. You see her rapidly pivot, her feet suddenly alight with motion. She spins around, grabs the spear, looks at you, and just goes, "It's gonna take more than that to take me out."
Okay, so question about the javelin. So
Mhm.
I threw the javelin. Is it like something that I have to pick back up?
I think you have 2 javelins in your inventory, so yes, if you wanted to use it twice beyond that, I think you'd have to pick one of those up
So
ostensibly.
beyond twice, I'd have to find one and pick it up. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
It's not like a javelin of returning or something, which you could totally get. Talk to Garloth.
Did I still not get a attack of opportunity when she moved away?
Indeed, you did not. That is the magic of the Zephyr Strike, which is
Okay.
ranger ability.
All right. Oh, we're gonna throw the javelin again.
Excellent. So you go ahead and you turn, you pivot, you lob. What's your what are the stats for the javelin for distance? Is that 3120
Um,
for range?
3120. Yep.
3120. You are actually just on the outside of that range since she's 40 feet from you, so you got to take that attack with disadvantage.
Oh, well then I'm gonna move forward a little bit then.
There you go.
I'm gonna make sure that that's not at disadvantage. So
You can take one
I'm
more
gonna
step
move
forward
one
and you'd
more.
be within normal range. There you go.
There we
So
go.
as you take the couple of steps, you're like, ha, gotcha.
Reckless attack. So,
Oh shit.
all right, javelin. Ugh.
10, 12, 19. You see as that javelin flies out, she throws up a shield and ping, ting, 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 tink. They clatter. Wave of white arcane energy bursts from her hand and catches the spear just before it's about to collide with her face.
Wow. Does she actually have an AC of higher than 19, or is that just a spell she used?
It's a spell that she used to raise her ACs from 16 to 21.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, shield gives you a +5 until the start of your next turn.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna run back over here because that's where approximately the javelin was,
Correct.
and that would be an action to pick it up, or a bonus action, or
We could say that's a bonus action. I don't want you to have to use a full action to pick up shit you've already dropped. So, say if you used it as your bonus action, that would work for me.
Okay, I'll use that as the bonus action.
Cool. And I will actually, it's just because we've done that a couple of times now, I'm going to make that an official homebrew rule for the list. So that picking up a dropped weapon is now a bonus action.
Should make a somewhat token of where those lay. Then figure out how to do that.
An item is a bonus action. Excellent. So let's go ahead and I will make sure that we mark that for the future then. So you trot back over, whap, you go ahead and have your javelin back in your hands. I believe you still have, no, you've got 25 of movement. So
Yep.
you are in
'Cause
your
that
position.
was 10 feet forward and then 15 feet back. Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
So that'd be it.
Excellent. So as you reposition yourself, Sasona, who's still bleeding pretty thoroughly, releases another gust of the fog energy around her, and her form begins to diminish. The orcish woman standing next to her goes, "Oh, don't want to get that on my clothes," and kind of takes an awkward hop back.
So this is different than the fog one. Yeah.
It's the same as the fog one. I should have made that
It is.
color
Okay.
identical.
Nope, that's okay. Just wanted to make sure.
There you go. Yep, same basic ability again. The 5 foot fog cloud.
All right, and that's it then.
That is it for her turn.
Oh, while I'm over here. Sorry, I want to make sure I'm going back to the right.
Mhm.
What? Garloff. I'm gonna need to talk to you about how to get these javelins back.
Oh, you want to get yourself a returning javelin? So many things we can do for you! Boomerangs! Javelins that go backwards, forwards! Javelins that only shoot death!
Okay. All and I'm gonna
Talk
do a
to me
javelin
afterwards. There
attack.
will be a great reward.
A javelin, reckless attack.
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead and give me that javelin. So with the disadvantage from the fog cloud, it's just going to be a straight shot. Ooh, but that straight shot's going to hit. Give me that damage. Oh, you go ahead and again, give me that. You still aiming for the center of mass? How you aiming that?
Oh, center of mass. Yeah, it's the best I could do with a fog cloud like that. Just, it's not really much. It's I'm throwing a javelin, man. I'm just rearing back with it and throwing it right as center mass, best I can.
Well, you go ahead and you throw that towards the center of mass, and it's with like pinpoint accuracy. You're almost able to like reinsert the javelin into the previous wound. You just see her like take the hit and like stumble backwards from it. She's looking really rough right now.
Okay. Bonus action. I'm gonna reinstate my Stormar, and
There you
that's it.
go.
That's
You
all I
go
can
ahead
do.
and you pulse that. The frost comes back over, and the ice is nice. Uh,
My turn's over.
All right. And with that, Sasona goes ahead, takes a look over the situation here, looks at like the sheer number of like wounds that she's got on her body, and goes, "All right, I guess it's all on this one then." And she goes ahead and releases charge. You see the wind energy resurge over her body. The interesting thing is, as you're watching the flow of energy, this one seems to almost deplete her, as opposed to like these previous gusts where it was like she was able to like draw the wind into her. This one is taking a lot more effort. But she goes ahead, darts into close combat, and outflashes. Ooh, wait, hold on. Zephyr Strike's a bonus action. Outflashes the spear augmented with the booming blade. Oop, no, I meant to do it two-handed. Shit. Does an 18 still hit you?
Oh, yeah.
18? Cool. All right, then the damage for that. 9 piercing damage. 4 force damage. And you feel the crackling lightning surge up your feet as once again the boom is connecting you down onto the floor. You see the wild eye in her look. She's like, "I'm not going down that easily." And she hops back, looking at you, coated in
Wow,
blood.
how much movement does she have? Holy crap.
She's 30 feet of movement, and when she lands a stab with the Zephyr Strike, she gets an additional 30 feet of movement till the end of the next turn.
Okay.
End of that turn.
All right.
There you go.
That's her turn.
I will also tell you that like she darts over there, but she is just a sopping mess. Like her eyes are like focusing in and out. You can still see the anger behind her eyes, but she's looking super freaking rough.
Well, I can't catch her, and she has my javelins. Or she doesn't, but my javelins are laying over on the ground there.
Mhm.
Um, can I throw just regular weapons? I
Let's
can't
see.
unless they have a range on them. I'm assuming, yeah.
That would be correct for the most part. I think your hand axe has a range on it. I believe that's a 2060.
Oh,
So you
okay.
so you could use the hand axe and make that happen. That's like your backup like throwing weapon. It's not as good at range because obviously it's an axe versus, but there you go.
All right, let's throw it. And is that so? That's still the yeah. It's because split the mountaintop is technically on my great axe. Yeah.
Yes, it would be for your next melee attack. And for what it's worth, I should have been making you do concentration checks
Oh,
every
constant.
time. Yeah, so actually
Okay.
I need you to make me, let's see how many have landed here. One, two, three. So I need you to make me 3 constitution saving throws here real quick. Your 10's your goal. 19 pass, 11 pass, 17 pass. So you still have your split the mountaintop.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Well,
So
let's
the hits have like
roll with a
kind of
hand axe.
distracted you, but you're so fucking pissed. You're still focused. You still got you got the rage train going, baby.
All right.
17. Fuck. 17 hits. Roll damage. How do you want to do this? Sasona looks up at you, all of her moves and her lightness and fleetness of foot. She tries to pull herself out of the way, but you've got her. Axe in hand, you go to throw it. How do you finish her off?
Um, it's just going. I'm not aiming for her head. I'm not aiming for her chest. Something painful but wounding. So midsection, like lower midsection.
Oh, you go ahead
Because I
and
don't. I mean, obviously, don't want to kill her. I want to hurt her, and I want to make sure she knows.
absolutely. So you go ahead and you aim for that, and whip, 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 it's got that perfect like horizontal spin on it as fit, flip, flip, almost to match the shot that she landed in your side. You just see this sink like 3 inches into her waist, and suddenly, with that spark behind her eyes out, she goes down like a ton of bricks. Perry goes ahead and runs up, and with a muttered word under his chest, his breath, um, 4 + 1. A quick surge of healing prevents Sasona from slipping further into death's clutches. But you stand the victor as Sasona lays defeated upon the ground. She looks up at you and goes, "All right, respect, barbarian. You put me in my place."
You fought well, Elf. Just be careful who you challenge in the future. They're not all as nice as me.
Only a half elf, but I'll take that to heart. And she goes ahead and you see just like a little bit of a gust, like pushes back on her hand and kind of pushes like the bloodiest part of like her wounds off of her hand. And she extends a hand in welcome and says, "My apologies for speaking out of turn."
Not out of turn. Just be careful.
I'll try. And the two of you, do you accept?
Of course.
And the two of you lock hands. And she cracks you another big smile and immediately coughs like a nice splatter of blood down onto the polished stone floor beneath the undersquare. Yay! Congratulations,
Okay.
you have now fought your first reflection.
Reflection.
Mm-hmm. So I have been homebrewing a class in the background here. If anyone wanted to like pick one up from scratch or multi-class, and you just fought, it's like you fighting your first Echo Knight. That's what the Crashing Waves can do.
Cool. I gotta pick up my javelins. Haha.
Nice, and you immediately do that. The javelins added back into your inventory. The crowd is cheering. Woo! They're thoroughly entertained by like the excellent show. You see Perry kind of like smiling sadly, a little disappointed that his acolyte lost, but also knowing exactly like how big of a fight she was setting herself up for. Garloth waves his tentacles in absolute delight. "Ah, yes, a pleasure, a success. This was a fight for the ages. We will succeed in new fights for the future. All will be paid." And with that, the sound of applause reaches your ears as the crowd slowly begins to disperse.
I'm just gonna walk away from disperse with them.
Sasona goes over to Perry. Perry goes ahead and will briefly gives a thaumaturgy enhanced. "Well fought, Gryson. We'll see you soon." That you can hear from as you're making your way. Um, And in the back of your mind, the voice of Harmony Adam begins to fill the recesses of your brain. And very softly, you hear, "Well fought. Well fought indeed." And now just imagine how that fight would have been different if she couldn't move at all.
Hmm.
And that's where we're going to pick up for our next session.
Okay. Awesome.
Cheers,
So I'm
dude.
assuming I can go back to the inn and rest and
Yeah,
get
yeah.
my
So that's
shit back.
you can go ahead and give yourself if you wanted to hit anywhere else or pick anything else up. There you go. But yeah, just a little something to tide you over while we're missing the whole group.
All right. No, that's awesome. That was fun.
Yeah, and as you enter the inn, you see Thaddeus and Chum now dealing with the dinner crowd. Still the demon gorilla ape and his posse still there. The large, like frog-looking beast man still there. The Celestials still working their way through several casks of wine. And you see Thaddeus go, "Ah, did you win, son?
Aye.
Did you beat him
Although,
good?"
I didn't lose the duel.
You got him, showed him what for. Ah, proud of you every time. You get yourself some rest there. And I'll send you a little ale, perhaps. There's something if you need a kip to send you out on a nightcap.
Ah, an ale before bed would be great.
And indeed, about 5 minutes after you go into your room and shut the door, you hear a soft knock, and a tray is left behind with a foaming mug of ale at the door, with a little note underneath, written in. You think that it's somebody trying to write in giant, but it basically translates to "Good job" with a smiley face, signed Chum.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna just down it and then what 10 silver, is that good enough for that's probably
Oh
way
yeah,
5 silver. I don't know.
that's plenty. 10 silver, and again, you're quickly rising to like VIP ranking with the way that you're tipping most of these places.
Good. Just put that at the next to the mug, put the mug back out by the door and go to bed.
Beautiful. And with that, sleep takes you. The sound of lightning, thunder, and splitting mountains, filling your dreams as you fall off into the infinite astral dream. Cheers, dude. There you go.
Fantastic.
Well, good
That's fun.
job. Yeah, you did a.
I was a little bit nervous there towards the end. I was down to 10. I was down to 10 hit points.
Yeah, I was thinking that this was going to be fairly close. But once you started getting that rage going, it was like, man, I'm not going to be able to land these hits the way I need to.
I mean, the storm aura helps. That knocked off 6. I would have been at 4 if I didn't wasn't using that.
Mhm. Yeah, you're
So
really
yeah.
like you're the whole package. Like between like the good con saves, like the damage resistance to the basic stuff, the storm aura, like you've got like all the good martial shit going on.
Now if I could just roll good.
Right? That could have been that. I will also say that like let's go through this. 10 and 11, 10 and a 9, like there were this whole fight could have been resolved like much earlier on.
Oh
Yeah, a
yeah.
10
Oh
and
yeah.
11. This could have been a very short fight had things gone a little differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I only have one actual hit with my great axe.
Mhm. Right. And of course none of the hits that were augmented with the mountain split connected too. So
Right.
although no, you did I don't think you took 13 or more damage in a single round though, cuz you were able to reduce most of the
No.
hits that were coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. They were all they were all piercing damage from the spear. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and maybe I could have. No, it wouldn't have been enough. There's maybe one more booming blade I could have like worked in there, but if you were at 10, that wouldn't have taken you out. Ooh, nicely done, dude. You fight very well. Like you've got like that
Uh,
good sense of tactical awareness to it. Nicely done.
Okay, thanks. I guess.
You were fun to one
I
on
mean,
one with my new test homebrew class.
well, it's those that's helpful because casters are definitely something that is difficult for me, but um, because keeping up with them because they're usually fast and agile, so they're running away and casting or coming up close casting and running away.
Hmm.
Like yeah, she's basically just come in, hit, and then dip, and that's like I'll just
Yep.
hit you.
Oh yeah, and that's specifically what the like play style for this subclass is supposed to be like. It's different if it's like Rising Tide, Coven of the Coast, or Crashing Waves, but Crashing Waves are designed to be like kiters, like medium
Yeah,
martial damage, but like if you want to stay on them, they make it real hard for you. So it's like get in, stab, stab, duck out.
I have a feeling I'm gonna have to invest some money in upgrading those javelins, though.
Hmm. Well, a good thing to know though before like you get yourself onto your next like heist or something like that and you're like, "Oh crap, I don't have like a good ranged like fallback."
Well, the javelin finished off the what's it, the necromancer, the warlock dude.
Mm. Yeah, the luckiest
Won me
13.
that fight.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like it's you're not just like offense, like melee offense. Like your rolls are so good with like a what do you have? Yeah, you've got a +5 to your strength. Anything that relies on just sheer ugh,
+7.
yeah, that's brutal.
Uh,
Yeah, keeping in mind that most people at level 4 maybe just got themselves to a +4, so they're gonna be at, like, a +6, so, like, you're on the right side of the bell curve right now, you're in real good shape.
Awesome.
Yeah, and, I hope this was fun for you too, I know, like, it's
It
a little
was.
a little trickier when we don't have the whole group.
No, well, I mean, it makes it a lot easier when you've got all this shit figured out. I don't know. The one thing I always am amazed at watching Critical Role and playing with you is like you had no idea where I was gonna go and what I was gonna do. I mean, you had an idea, but
Mhm,
you didn't know like I was gonna go talk to the mayor and pick up that book and so I mean, you got all that stuff kind of somewhat worked out already. It's pretty cool. It's
yeah,
neat.
having the little wiki pad next to me so that it's like, "Oh crap, you're heading over to the government comment hall, there you go, Clausima and Desire, there we go, there's their articles." So, definitely I appreciate that because that's the thing, I want it to if I'm capable of making it feel like it's a big world that you can do anything in, like, that's the reason you're doing this rather than, like, playing a video game, right? It's that if you wanna go interact with somebody, like, normally you wouldn't be able to in a game because it's like, oh, nobody programmed any voice lines for this NPC. But
Yeah, yeah, that's very much it is. That's it is. It's very much like it's like the video games, except for there's less constraints.
hmm.
Because video games, you can tell the NPCs that are going to actually talk back and be worthwhile to click on and stuff. But yeah, it's
Hmm.
it's just like likely if there's an NPC, they're probably worth talking to.
Yep. At the very least, especially since you're such a good tipper, it's nothing wrong with meeting them just to ingratiate yourself. You never
Yeah,
know when having the service industry on your side is like the best thing that could happen.
right. Yeah,
And
awesome. Well,
Garloth is a big fan now too.
I'm interested to see. Yeah, that guy. Man,
You are a delight.
uh,
You are supported. You will be my greatest success.
I was hoping he's going to give me a discount.
You did not go back into the shop afterwards.
I thought about it, but I'm like, I don't, yeah, just go window shopping with Garlot. That doesn't seem pleasant.
It is not so much a window shop as it is a window lick.
Um, all
I am
right.
delightful. I am
How,
so delightful.
I'm not playing my character up too much based on what I'm supposed to. I
No,
mean,
no, you did awesome. Here,
okay.
I'll hit
I
the
mean, I
stop
kind of
button here.
intentionally